is, the game is like 3 or 4 years old now. Nobody is online playing it anymore.
Yeah.
So like, I searched for somebody to play a mission with the other day. It took 5 minutes, and they're finally like, "Do you just want to start the mission alone, or we'll keep searching for you?" I'm like, "Fine." But the missions are actually, you need other people for it. It's damn near impossible to get through them alone. Like, I did one alone, and I started another one because I wanted, like, a special hood. And, like, I kept failing because you need, like, 2 other people.
Yeah, I hate design like
and
that.
it's really frustrating. So for me, I think I'm just gonna quickly get through the story of Unity and just move on to Syndicate, because, like, Syndicate got really good reviews.
That's the newest one?
That's the newest one. The one that takes place
I have actually heard that's a pretty good game.
Well, I think for Unity, they tried something new and tried to make it like a pseudo MMO, and it just failed.
Yeah.
Just say it's shit. It's a Ubisoft game. It's okay. We can bash on Ubisoft as much as we possibly want to.
There's Ubisoft games I've liked. I've been.
Oh, I do too. I just think the last good one they made was Blood Dragon, and I don't think they've made.
I mean, I've been a fan of Assassin's Creed since it began.
I love the first one. I've followed that process ever since I saw the first trailer at whatever E3 that was, and I was very excited because I thought Splinter Cell was kind of heading down the wrong route, and I liked the kind of Hitman approach they took to Splinter Cell or to Assassin's Creed. And so I bought the first one and loved the hell out of it, and then 2 I hated, and I didn't really like any of them.
I loved 2. I thought 2 was better.
The only thing I've liked since was the multiplayer in Brotherhood, because it's one of the most unique multiplayer modes you can ever play.
With that being said, the last good Splinter Cell I got invested in was Conviction.
That's like not a Splinter Cell game. It's a great action game, not a Splinter Cell game.
Well, yeah, it's a great action game. I liked it because of the story. I was really invested in, like...
Oh, I hated the story. Good lord, I thought it was like the most insulting thing.
Like finding your daughter all over again and stuff. I was really invested. I'm into those sappy, like, find your child stories, though, you know?
But it totally ruins the one good thing about Double Agent, which was the story, and the driving force behind that was how Sarah died. And now it was like, oh, it was all a government conspiracy. No.
I don't know. I liked Conviction. Conviction was a fun action game.
It also kind of...
you were saying that Blood Dragon was the last thing that they released. Child of Light was after that, wasn't it? It was 2014, and
yeah, but that wasn't developed.
I think he's talking about their AAA titles.
Yeah, Child of Light wasn't developed by any Ubisoft team either. It was just published by them.
Oh no, wasn't it in-house, but a small team?
It was.
I think so.
Oh.
I don't know.
Let me have a
look. I'm looking forward to Watch Dogs.
It was Ubisoft Montreal.
I'm looking forward to Watch Dogs 2, though. I mean, all things considered, I liked the first Watch Dogs. I hated the main character, but I liked a lot of the mechanics.
But here's the thing with Watch Dogs. So the premise is that you're a hacker, right? And so it's an open world game where the focus should be then hacking stuff. But that's not the focus. The core gameplay loop is you shooting people, and the hacking is just an additional way to make that happen. And that's a huge missed opportunity. And I was hoping they would actually make you a hacker in the second one, but they're not. You're a super cool action dude who shoots people and can hack stuff sometimes.
I don't
know. If you were a hacker, you wouldn't be able to use a gun at all. You would be shit with guns.
I know you have a natural bad thing against Ubisoft. I'm looking forward to Watch Dogs 2.
It's not that I have a natural bad thing against Ubisoft. I was excited for Watch Dogs until I was like, wait, so why do I run around shooting people if I'm a hacker? That doesn't make any sense. I'm a hacker. Like, why am I someone who's like, look at how any like show like that is constructed. You have someone who's good at shooting, you have someone who's good at hacking, you have all these different characters who are good at different things, and that's how you come up with these things. If you just have someone who's good at everything, then
for Shadowrun.
You mean Die Hard 4?
yes. When John McClane starts having the ability to hack shit, yeah. No.
I thought it was what's his name?
Justin Long.
Yeah, Justin Long. That was the hacker.
That movie wasn't the worst Die Hard sequel in the world, but it's still not very good at all.
No, it wasn't a good movie at all.
I still have never watched
Okay.
the newest one.
No, the one where John McClane robs people and throws them out of cars like GTA and runs over people in a tank.
Didn't this happen in 4?
That happened in 5. That's the one with his son.
Is there a 5?
Uh-huh.
What?
It's A Good Day to Die Hard.
Oh no, that sounds bad.
Yeah, because, John McClane doesn't give a shit about civilians or anything like that, right? He just wants to run people over in a tank. Like, there's this really awful, terrifying shot where he's running through the streets of New York or wherever, or whatever,
I remember now.
and he's in a tank, and it cuts to the lady inside of the tank, and she's screaming as the car, roof is collapsing on top of her. And I'm like, and he's running over, hundreds of cars down Main Street, and I'm like, what the fuck?
Yeah, I saw Live Free or Die Hard, and I think I know that A Good Day to Die Hard came out, but I didn't watch it.
No,
You know what
it's
series I
bad.
finally watched, and I enjoyed every one, was Lethal Weapon. I'd never seen them before.
Oh, yeah.
What? You'd never seen Lethal Weapon? Oh my
I had
god.
never seen any of them before.
All of them
Yeah,
are really,
I love it.
all of them are really fun, but only 2 of them are good.
Yeah.
Yes. 1 and 2 are worth watching, and then it's just downhill
Yeah,
from there.
Oh no, I think 3 and 4 are worth watching. 4 especially because it goes super off the rails and it's super ridiculous. But
They're all fun. And
They're
Joe
all-
Pesci's actually pretty funny in those movies.
yeah,
which
yeah,
He's just not. Generally, he's just an obnoxious turd.
yeah, and you get a really young Chris Rock in 4, and he's fun too.
Oh yeah, he was the best part of that one.
The tagline for A Good Day to Die Hard is Yippee-ki-yay, Mother Russia.
Yeah.
It's a PG-13 Die Hard movie too. I
Oh
think.
no.
Well, Live Free to Die Hard is also PG-13, I think.
Oh well, that's terrible.
But on DVD, they're both are
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Well,
unrated.
welcome to the Twinstiq podcast, where we shit on Ubisoft and Die Hard.
I've been told to buy and watch Dougal, so I'm gonna see if I can find Dougal in this
So-
country.
Dougal.
Dougal is a bad movie apparently.
Oh, all right.
Oh, McDougal.
McDougal.
Oh,
You know what's
just
not? You know
Dougal.
what's not a bad movie? Everybody, Deathgasm.
Yeah, Death
You know
Gasm.
what you should all watch? Deathgasm.
Yeah.
I loved it.
Yeah, that
you
was
should
a
all
great-
watch Stranger Things.
Oh, hey,
Yeah,
I
Stranger
can't
Things is
Dougal in
great
this
too.
country.
Oh,
And
cool.
Dougal's cheap, so I'm gonna buy it.
Yeah, sweet.
What is it? McDougal?
No, it's just Dougal. D-O-O-G-L.
D-O-O-G.
Is that the one with the dog or whatever?
Yes, the one with the dog. It's bad. It's just,
Oh
it's
yeah,
not-
no, I've heard about that. Yeah,
Dougal movie. D-O-O-G-L. That's it.
Yeah,
that's
no,
the.
G-L.
Oh, A-L. Dougal.
Dougal.
It has 1.5 stars on IMDb,
It's
and
not
that
good.
and IMDb is where everything has a way higher score, so that's fun. Wow, I've never even heard of this movie. This sounds great.
Go look at the cast list. It'll make you cry.
Is it as bad as Jason Lee being in the Chipmunks movies?
Just go watch. Go look.
That's actually entertaining. Okay.
I haven't watched it, and I have no plan to watch it.
The first, I've
There's
only
not
watched-
even a Wikipedia page for this movie. What the hell? There we go. No Dougal. What? Alright, well, I guess we're gonna go to IMDb then. There's actually no one has even bothered to make a wiki for this movie. This is the story
That's not bad.
of Dougal. John Stewart, why?
Wait.
Jimmy Fallon would be cool. William H. Macy! No! Oh, Kevin Smith, of course Kevin Smith's in these and everything. That's fine.
Did
Chevy
you
Chase,
expect anything
Ben.
else from?
Kylie Minogue and Ian McKellen.
From the director who's making my most anticipated movie of 2018, Moose Jaws, which is Jaws with a moose. Yeah, I'm excited for that. I'm also excited for Yoga Hearses, which comes out I think next month.
So yeah, I'm gonna buy Dougal and watch it.
This is the story of Dougal, an adorable candy-loving mutt who goes on a mission to save the world. That's enough for me. There's like a
And the trailer
long
is
paragraph
exactly like
there.
that.
Wait, Judi Dench, Chevy Chase, Bill Hader.
I like how Kevin Smith even made the tag on the poster. Like that's how bad their celebrity casting was. They like
You haven't scrolled down enough. Ian McKellen is in this movie somehow.
I saw that.
yeah, he's there. Yeah. All right. Well,
So
Well,
we're not actually
Sharknado 4 Is,
Oh yeah, how was
3
that?
hours.
How was that? It was 3 hours long.
No. It's not on until about 3 hours from now.
Oh.
So by the time we're done, I'm probably just gonna go sit down and watch Sharknado 4.
There's a novelization of Song of the Deep. What? That's cool.
Oh, excuse me.
Yeah, we're having all kinds of fun for this podcast, everybody. Hope you've been enjoying.
Okay,
Are
so
we
let's
streaming already?
Yeah, we are.
Yeah, I said a little while ago.
Okay, so while we're doing this,
So instead of talking about what we're playing, go watch Dougal. That's gotta be fun.
come back to us in 2 hours. And we might start podcasting. I am Grey Wolf and or Lost Wolf. I write pieces only. I haven't been doing that for the last 2 weeks because I've been installing Windows 10. And I got most of my stuff reinstalled, so I'm going to be playing games again soon.
All I heard was, I'm a giant masochist.
Very good. Yeah, that's pretty much all you heard. With me, I have other people. Say hello, other people.
Hello, other people.
Hello.
Who are you, other people?
I'm Screwloose. I'm Screwloose.
Let's tell us what you do.
I'm Screwloose. I also write for Twinstiq, this is the Twinstiq podcast. I don't know if that was even mentioned yet.
It was.
It kind of was.
Yeah, I haven't written anything for a little while either. I'm kind of been in a little rut as far as stuff to write about.
I just release them.
Yeah, but I've been more wanting to make video, but I haven't had time.
Yeah, I'd still love to be able to record some Doom.
Oh god, I know.
You can't
so
see it, but I'm
dumb.
waving my fist in the air. angrily.
Before we close the lights and we shut down Twinstiq forever, that will be the last thing you post. Will be a Doom video.
Yeah. Finally got to do it.
Your Doom is my Rocksmith, and I might just stick my fucking cell phone in front of my monitor.
Yeah. If I had a GoPro, I'd just strap it to my head so you could watch the monitor while I play. But I don't have a GoPro. But anyway, I that's me. I'm Screwloose.
Sweet.
Who's next?
Tell us about you.
Hi everyone, I'm True Legend Killer. I'm the newest pseudo member, although I don't have an official page yet.
Yes, I will go in and I will add your page.
But with that being said, I am a writer and podcaster here at Twinstiq, and I'm the most different writer, as I seem to cover mostly comic book related stuff.
Which is cool.
All my articles so far have been over 100 views, and I'm kind of proud about that. But yeah, when you think geeky,
hey man, my Dark Souls 3 review got almost 800 views. All right, so you just you shut up.
Wow.
Yeah, are we gonna start comparing dick size here? Is that what's going on?
Okay. But anyways. So yeah, you can count on me to voice the geeky opinion that isn't necessarily the video game one. I'm also the console gamer of the group.
Yeah, he's the peasant, basically.
Although he's
man.
Oh yeah, I
fired.
am officially adapted into Steam slowly.
Yay.
Yeah, you'll be the console guy for like the next 2 weeks until you finally grow some eyes. All right. Cool.
And the other person I have with me is Yoda. Go for it. Tell us about you, Yoda.
Well,
I'm a massive tool.
I'm a massive Tool fan. Massive Tool fan. I really like Sober. Schism's a pretty good Tool song. I've been doing a whole lot of just trying to relax and enjoy the summer and not burn alive in this fucking heat, basically.
Oh my god. Don't get us started.
Been thinking of what videos to do next and stuff. Still want to do the take a look back at Hitman if I get some free time here and there. But yeah, just hanging out, enjoying life, doing whatever, waiting for some games to come out. Yeah, that's about it.
That's true. Yeah, let's talk about what we're playing. We've discussed me. I'm busy in the process of reinstalling Windows 10, but I got an alpha invite into Elder Scrolls Legends. It's an okay game. It's very much like Hearthstone. If you're looking for another Hearthstone game, play that, I guess. they made some tweaks, and the tweaks are kind of interesting. As you go through the story, you get given choices of 2 different cards, and then you pick this card or the other card. I'm going to assume that you can get the other cards through acts. You also upgrade your cards, which is a neat mechanic. So as you level up, your cards get better, and that's quite cute. But otherwise, it's basically Hearthstone with 2 lanes instead of 1. So it's very.
Does it do anything with the 2 lanes? Does that actually seem to like mix it up quite a bit? I mean, because we are really oversaturated with digital CCGs at this point.
Yeah, I know, and this is kind of just me too. This is very much Bethesda playing by the numbers, or painting by the numbers. The way the lane situation works is that you can have, I think it's 5 or 6 guys in a lane, and each lane is designated as a different type of thing. So on your right, usually you've got what's known as the shadow lane, and on your left you've got the normal lane. And when you drop things into a shadow lane, they stay stealthed for a turn. So if you know about Hearthstone, stealth is kind of an ability where people can't attack you. You can't attack the minion. You know that it's there, but you can't do anything about it. Now in Hearthstone, that means that you can't also target it with abilities and skills and that kind of thing. In Elder Scrolls Legends, you can target it for damage dealing effects and that kind of thing. You just can't attack it. So that's all the stealth lane does. There are a couple of other minor tweaks. As you go down in health, for each 5 health that you lose, you draw a card out of your deck, which is good.
Oh, that's actually really cool. Yeah.
That is it. That's not a bad mechanic.
No, that's actually really smart.
The coin doesn't last for 1 turn with 1 card. It is a 3-turn thing, but you can only burn 1 point off of their version of the coin every turn. So you get 3 actions off of the coin instead of 1. But it's really, we're talking like, when I say things like this, I say that we're talking about really minor little tweaks.
They don't sound like dumb tweaks though. They sound like really good ideas.
They're
be fair,
intelligent and well thought out tweaks. Like for example, one of the big problems that you have with Hearthstone is that you can't mix and match classes, and that makes sense because if you could give them the mage the ability to draw cards at will, the mage would be like super bastard. Now in Elder Scrolls Legends, there is no such thing as a hero power, but like with Magic, you get colored cards, different colored cards that do different. They have a different feel. Like for example, green would be the color of swiftness, and swiftness means attacking with little guys that, as they hit the board, they can attack immediately. Blue means the color of magic, so it's got a lot of direct damage, and it's got a lot of subterfuge like that, where you can silence things and you can do that kind of thing. And the way it works is that you can throw any color with any other color. So for example, if you want to play red-blue, you can play red-blue. If you want to play black-blue, you can play black-blue. It doesn't matter. Whereas with Hearthstone, if you pick a mage, you are stuck with mage cards and neutral cards, and that's it. Okay. So some of it's reasonable tweaks, but it's really just a by the numbers Hearthstone code. So if you want a slightly modern take on Hearthstone, maybe get into it, I guess. But you're getting the same game with a slightly different skin.
I don't know. I might try it. It certainly looks like it's, you know. I definitely dismissed it as a Hearthstone clone at first, but you telling me the things it does actually does get me kind of interested in trying it out.
Okay. Well, I will record some footage and I will upload it, and then you can just watch. Because once you see a couple of games, you'll get a good feel for what's going on. The one thing I do like, and I'm glad to see, is that Bethesda's realized that 30 cards is not a good deck size. In order to have strategy, you need to have a bigger deck size, so their baseline is 50 to 70 decks.
Sweet.
So that's good. So that's me. That's what I've been playing. Literally all I've been playing because I've reinstalled Windows 10. Who wants to go next?
Okay, I'll go next.
Go.
Mine's pretty short.
Do it.
Mine's pretty short. I've been playing Ghostbusters for Game Club, which we're going to mention in a little bit, but really nothing else. It's been hot, and I haven't felt like just sitting over here next to my computer, which is essentially a heater. I haven't really been feeling like doing that. So I've only been playing Ghostbusters for Game Club, and it's been fun. But like I said, we'll talk about that in a while.
Sweet.
And that's me.
Cool.
True.
Collision.
What have you been playing?
What about you?
What have I been playing? Let's see. Obviously our game club game, as I am the leader of that this time around. So I've been playing Ghostbusters, the video game again. I just finished the campaign for Sleeping Dogs.
Oh, cool.
I finally, got to play that years later.
And then did it hold up pretty okay?
Well, I mean, this
Considering
is the
how
first time
old
I
it
ever
is.
played it, but it was very predictable. But then again, those movies that it's loosely based off.
Yeah, it's definitely your Infernal Affairs ripoff. Clone.
Yeah, it's very like every twist and turn was very apparent. I mean, there's a bunch of stuff I still have to do. There's a bunch of because the definitive edition came with all the DLC. Just at this moment, I'm kind of done with it, so I'll eventually go back in a few weeks maybe and try one of the DLC things. All in all, it was a pretty fun game. I like the martial art aspects of it. Really easy controls. I got used to driving, and I normally hate driving in those types of games. I'd rather take a taxi everywhere. Or just
What I really liked about that game is it kind of did some of the Just Cause stuff where you can hop from car to car. And,
Yeah.
I thought that was pretty awesome.
They even had a Just Cause like costume you could.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
But now I've switched over. So on the console front, I finally got my hands on the last two main title Assassin's Creed games, so Unity and Syndicate. I'm playing through Unity right now, and I gotta tell you, all the bad things that you heard about Unity being like the worst of the franchise, 3 years or 4 years later, I forget how long the game's been out.
I think it's only like 2, because Syndicate came out last year and Unity was the year before that, right?
Okay, so 2 years, but like, all those bad things still hold true. The game is very, very glitchy. There is nobody still playing it, and the game revolves around co-op. So I can't do the co-op missions, because all power to it, the co-op missions are very hard. Maybe it's just because I'm not that far in and I don't have all the equipment, but I don't think that's necessarily true. So like last night, I was trying to play. It took me 5 minutes to try to find somebody for a co-op mission, and then it finally glitched the game like, hey, do you want to play it alone? And we'll keep looking for somebody to play with you. And I'm like, sure, I'm good at stealth-esque kind of games. I'll be able to get through this. And I failed 3 or 4 times before I finally basically rage quit. So at this point, because I have been, since the very first Assassin's Creed game, I've been invested in the overworld story. So, like, I want to... I'm going to power through just the story of the game and kind of try to avoid all this co-op stuff, although to get the best, like, equipment and stuff for this game, it says you have to beat co-op mission.
Those games give you so much friggin' equipment. Like, do you really need more equipment? Like, those
I've
games are so easy.
I've noticed, with that being said, this game, Unity is very much like customization, more so than any of the other games. The other games were all about, you get better weapons and whatnot, but this one, like, every piece of your suit is customized, and to get, like, a lot of them, you have to play the co-op missions, and that's really frustrating to me. So again, I think I'm just going to power through the story, because I am invested into the story, just so I can get to the next game, Syndicate. Syndicate got really good reviews. It's in a really interesting time period, because it takes place in 1868 of London, so you have the Industrial Revolution going on. And that's really cool to me. There's even a DLC piece that came for that game that deals with Jack the Ripper, so I'm really intrigued to play through that. But on the other end of the spectrum, now that I have a new computer, I've slowly been getting into PC gaming. I got Steam. First game that I bought was, and we'll get into this more later, early access into Subnautica, which is it's a deep sea survival-esque sort of game. I like it because slowly watching the world be built around me, because unlike a lot of other early access games, and again we'll get into this later, these developers, like twice, 3 times a month, they release patches for the game, so they're actively working on it. Since I got it, I've already noticed like 2 patches where they added new things. I thought that's really cool. The other thing that I've been playing, thanks to Yoda and Screw, is Marvel Heroes 2016.
Oh, yeah.
I'm adoring that game right now.
Yep.
I've never played, so it's Diablo-esque. I've never played Diablo before. The closest thing I've ever come to playing in that was X-Men Legends and
I remember X-Men's Legends. That was a pretty good game.
What's the other one? The Marvel one, where they had Civil War was Ultimate Alliance.
the one,
I never played Ultimate Alliance because
I played Ultimate Alliance back in the day when it first released. So this is kind of like my first attempt of playing this sort of game. I like that it lets you try out every hero to a certain level, and then you have to pay with either in-game currency or real money to get the heroes that you want.
Yeah.
You get one free unlock, and I'm going to use that probably on Spider-Man, simply because him and Iron Man are the most expensive heroes.
Yeah.
So, and being Spider-Man and Captain America,
you get enough currency to get another hero pretty quickly. They give you I think once you get to like level 15, they give you enough to get one, and then it takes a little longer after that. Because I unlocked Punisher first, but then after I got to try another free hero, I was like, all right, I gotta do Iron Fist, because I tried him after I upgraded, or I unlocked Punisher, and I was like, oh my god, Iron Fist is the greatest thing ever.
I've tried out a few heroes. I mean, in the first level, they start you as Captain America, and then you call in and play as Natasha, and then you play as the Hulk. And then before you move on to the second mission, they're like, try out a few other heroes. So that's
cool. Yeah, that wasn't the case when we started. They were like, you get 10 heroes so you could pick from. You could change it at any time.
Yeah, and you can and like they would rotate those heroes.
So it's cool to hear that they're actually encouraging you to actively swap and try out different heroes.
I called in Spider-Man, and again, I'm probably going to use my unlock on Spider-Man because he's the most expensive besides Iron Man. And then I tried out like Deadpool, who of course plays just as you would expect.
He's awesome. I love playing Deadpool.
But yeah, I'm enjoying that. I'm not very far because.
That game does have the best free-to-play model.
Yeah,
that game.
It really does.
Path of Exile. Well, and Dota. Dota's obviously the best.
Yeah.
And I've been thinking about possibly getting into my first real MMO. I've been really contemplating Star Trek Online because I'm a big Trekkie, and I know it's coming to PS4.
It's still got a good community too on PC at least. I don't know about if it'll have a good PS4 community or not, but it's got a good community on PC. It's supposed to be pretty easy to get into. I've never tried it, but I hear good things.
Originally, I was going to get into DC Universe Online, but I don't know. I'm such a comic book snob that I don't know.
Oh yeah, well the problem. Okay, so here's the problem with MMOs. They can't really tell good stories, because there's no way for them to do that.
The best one at doing that is my favorite, which is SWTOR, and even then, it's still not the greatest in the world, but yeah. Well, the fully voice acted cutscenes definitely help a lot, though.
Yeah.
With that being said, I know it's not technically an MMO. I like Marvel Heroes simply because you do step into the shoes of your favorite heroes. And if you have friends that are playing it, they can join you. Yep. I don't know if they can play the same hero as you. I kind of hope not.
They can.
Oh, they can. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
But I like the idea that you can build a team of like 4 different heroes. And I think that's really cool.
That Marvel Heroes isn't an MMO in the MMO sense, because they need to be able to let you run around the world and kind of beat stuff up at your own pace. So the way they have it is most MMOs will have what they call the Holy Trinity. So they'll have the tank, and healer, and then the DPS, which is the damage per second.
Yep.
And in Marvel Heroes, almost everyone is a variant of a damage per second.
Yeah.
There's no
Yeah.
real tank, there's no real healer.
Well, the Hulk is played very much like a tank.
He is played very much like a tank.
Yeah.
But the thing is that you can send him out. The way it usually works with these games a lot is that if you send the tank out by himself, he will almost always get overwhelmed at some point.
Yeah.
Whereas
Well, and
with
it's also not balanced
yeah,
in any respect.
Yeah. Yeah, you
I
can't really solo too much stuff end game as Iron Fist very well. But if you have a tank with you can do pretty damn well.
With that
Right.
being
I mean,
said,
I took Captain Marvel. She was the first one I had to 60. Still my
God,
favorite
she's
character.
so much fun too.
So
Holy
awesome.
crap.
You know, and I took her to a raid zone by herself and made it all the way to the boss.
wow.
Which is crazy.
And I can do that. I can't fight the boss because it takes a group mechanic to fight the boss.
Yeah. Right.
But I can make it all the way there by myself.
Well,
Right.
now that
So-
I'm involved in, I know at least 2 of you guys play. We can possibly do raids. I don't know how many it takes for raids though.
Yeah, 10,
that
10
game.
plus.
Oh, really? 10?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Oh, never mind.
Yeah, it's an actual raid.
Okay.
It's
Yeah,
not it's
'cause
not like your Destiny raids.
Yeah, that's what I was saying. Because in Destiny, it's like I think at most 6 people.
Well, I think that's the most that those consoles can handle, so.
So, but I mean, I've only ever played MMOs like Destiny or The Division, stuff like that. I really like The Division still. But with that being said, to switch back, I'm still slowly playing. I've kind of stopped recently, but I'll get back to it. Is The World Ends With You on my 3DS.
Yeah.
And I got really into this because it was from the same developers of the Kingdom Hearts games.
Right.
But with that being said, I really am starting to dislike the mechanics for that
Yeah,
game.
the mechanic is not cool. The way
But with
it
that
has
being
you
said, like I'm
working
into
with
the
both
story.
screens. The story is very interesting.
Yeah, no, split screen mechanic and the fact that you have to control your friend on top
Yep.
and you at the bottom.
Yep.
Even if you put the friend on top, computer, they get their butt kicked. It's too much going on 2 different screens
Yeah,
to
it's
handle.
unfortunate that they went with that idea because the way that game sets itself up, it's all about people being individuals,
Yes.
and then they set you up with these 2 people, and they're like, you must control your friend, and then you're like, but isn't he an individual?
Yeah.
Why am I doing this?
With that being said, like, I would really. This is one of those things that, and I know it's built like this. This story would work so good for like an anime OVA.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely.
Like three like hour-and-a-half movies. This story would have been amazing. Like, and the major reason I wanted to get this game was number one, it's from the developers. It was kind of a cult classic hit. But apparently the characters are introduced in one of the newest Kingdom Hearts games, and they'll be back for Kingdom Hearts 3 even. So like I wanted to play through their game to know the characters.
Right.
And I don't know, the mechanic makes it so hard to stick with the game, but the story is really captivating. It kind of has that Death Note, Future Diary sort of feel if any anime fans are out there. Especially Future Diary. It's very Future Diary like.
And what's cool about that too is that the place that you're in is an actual real place in Japan.
Yes. So, but with that being said, that's basically all I've been playing. I'm slowly getting back to school in this next month, so my playtime. My playtime is going to drop drastically because I'm actually starting the program to become a teacher. So, grading and schoolwork is going to be the major thing.
A word of advice: don't play Star Trek because MMOs have a tendency, if you get into them, you get really into them, so you have to be careful.
Yeah,
that's a good,
destroy
that's a
your
good
life.
thing. And that's the nice thing about Marvel is I'm able to I play for a few hours and I can walk away. Yeah.
The one thing that I do want to tell you about Star Trek Online is that some people don't get into it because of the way it's set up, and the way it's set up is you have like away missions on planets, and then you have a lot of space flight. And people either like the space flight or they hate it. And It's very binary, so just be wary of that.
I may just watch some people play it on YouTube and see
that
if
might be the best thing to do.
you know.
Because at this point it's a very mature game. It's got a lot of content, and
Yeah, I know. I was pricing it to get all the DLC would cost me like
yes,
$300-400, and I'm just like, at this point, I don't think it's even worth like getting into unless you buy it and you get all the expansions, you know. With that being said, apparently next month's Loot Crate is coming, because I subscribe to Loot Crate. Is coming with you're gonna get World of Warcraft and all the expansions up to this point for free
In Loot Crate?
Yes.
All right. Do you get like a month of WoW time too?
Yeah, it gives you 1 month to play, and then you have to get a subscription. But the fact is that they're giving you all the DLC and stuff is really cool. I was actually thinking about maybe just handing it over to you, Yoda, or even.
Well, no, because I'm not gonna pay $15 a month for a game.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Well,
I liked WoW when I played it for my free month, but not enough to pay.
Well, I know
$15 a
your
month for it.
fiance is big into it, so I may give it to her if I don't want it.
All right.
But you know, I just thought that was really cool. I saw Loot Crate was doing that.
I wonder if they did a special deal with Blizzard because Legion is coming out, and they're like, oh,
I'm guessing that's exactly what happened.
I think it is.
That's
Because I doubt it's going to
DLC.
come with the newest DLC. You know.
Oh, yeah, I'm sure it
Yeah.
won't. Yeah.
No, if I got into an MMO, I'll just get back into SOTOR. I love that game.
KOTOR, yeah.
yeah.
Anyway, so
It's
that's-
KOTOR 3 or 4 if
And
you
the
count
thing,
Mass Effect.
the thing at this point is that there are so many free-to-play MMOs that you're almost spoiled for choice. So
Yeah, and
not
WildStar
like you have
apparently
to
had a
play.
lot of big updates lately too that
Yeah.
made it pretty good, and it's entirely
and
free now
WildStar is
too.
very sort of World of Warcraft-like. So if you like World of Warcraft, play
Yeah,
WildStar.
it's basically apparently exactly what vanilla WoW was, and then people were like, "Holy shit! I guess we didn't want this."
Yes.
And with that being said, I mean, even MMOs are slowly coming to console. We had
Yeah, that's true.
DC Universe Online is on PlayStation 4 and 3.
Right.
We had the horrible Elder Scrolls Online.
Which is still somehow kicking strong. I guess people ended up liking that game. It doesn't have the biggest player base in the world, but it's got good enough to live
The people
on.
who really like it really like it.
And then
Yeah.
I've read recently that Star Trek Online is coming to PlayStation 4, so
Cool.
I think that's cool because I'm a really big Trekkie and I have been since I was little. So that and KOTOR were the only MMOs that really grasped me as something I'd want to play. I know that's probably surprising for
Yeah.
listeners, knowing that I'm such a huge DC Comics fan that I haven't wanted to play DC Universe Online. Just that game just didn't really hold any.
Yeah, I never heard good things about DCU Online, so I never tried it.
I've heard good things.
thought
I
the
just
closed.
had no desire to try it out.
Yeah, I thought it closed down too, Screw, but apparently that was their Infinite Crisis.
Infinite Crisis,
which
and
was-
that's their MOBA.
Yeah, which was apparently pretty good, and got shut
Yeah,
down.
I'm shocked. I'm shocked. It wasn't even out a year, I don't think.
No, and Dawngate, which was a small indie company that EA picked up, were making a MOBA called Dawngate, and it was excellent. It was really, really good. It actually changed up the genre quite a bit, and really, really liked it. And then not enough people played the alpha, so they just stopped production on it.
Well, it's like the Fables MOBA too that was coming.
Yeah, that would have been cool. Well, I wouldn't call that a MOBA. That was just kind of like an asymmetric multiplayer game because there was 4 players going against the GM. Basically, it just seemed like a D&D game, which sounded
And now supposedly it's still coming, but in a CCG format.
so not the game at all.
Not the game at all. Yeah.
But it is still going to be made by Lionhead. So
Well, at least all the devs still have jobs, and that's really the
yeah, at
important
least they have
thing,
something
so,
to do. At least.
Yeah. All right.
So I think we'll switch over. So, oh no,
Yeah,
Yoda,
what
you
the
tell
f-
us-
What
Yeah,
the
sorry.
fuck, little guy? Hey.
Yoda, what are you going to play?
Well, let's see. Well, let's start on PlayStation. We picked up 4 games for $40 last week. So I tried one of them that I had never heard of. It's called Bound by Flame. It's kind of like if Dark Souls and Mass Effect had a baby, and the baby was a little retarded, but still enjoyable to hang out with. I guess is kind of the way to say it.
That is such a weird.
That is horrible.
I'm like
Listeners, Yoda is going to that special.
I'm really tempted to just wait for a sale for it to come on PC because it runs like shit because it's a fucking PlayStation 4. It runs at 60 most of the time, and then sometimes it'll just dip to like 20, 30, and it's kind of monotonous. And the input lag is the worst thing in the world. I can't stand it.
It's on Steam. Has been for.
I
a
know,
while.
but it's $30 still. So I'll probably
sale.
I bought it on $10 for a PlayStation, so I'll just wait for it to come on sale. Until then, I'll keep slogging through it on PlayStation. It's really well voice acted, which is very surprising to me, considering how less than stellar it looks. I think the color scheme and the level design are great. It's just not the.
I like how you're trying to find a word to describe.
Well, I mean, if this was a PlayStation 3 game, it'd look really good, but it's a PlayStation 4 game, and so it looks fine. It looks like an average game. It plays kind of like an average game.
More from it.
Yeah, and I'm sure if once I pick it up on PC, it'll probably play really well. So that's Bound by Flame. It's pretty all right.
And you picked up the Order 1886, right?
That was the other one we picked up. We just started playing that though, so I don't really have much of an impression on
No,
that.
you mean
Other than I started watching the Order 1886. I shot a few people.
Visually, it's a beautiful game. Visually, it's a very beautiful game.
Visually, it's like a little bit above Bound by Flame, if I'm gonna be totally honest.
What are you talking about?
Like the lighting is way better, but so far it's
so
fine.
Here's the thing. You see, we have PC specs and.
I like how you old man did this. Like, here's the thing: we look at full resolution games with at least 2K textures,
and so, well, no, okay.
I apologize, podcast. You are in the midst of the PC master race, and I'm the low console guy. That's like,
Oh, we love you.
consoles are great, and I love
consoles are great. I think they're an important thing to have around, but I mean, you get what you pay for.
Yeah,
Oh my god, you guys.
No, we love you. It's you're awesome.
Yeah.
Don't worry. It's just that like literally when I looked at screenshots of the Order and I thought that looks all right.
Yeah, the lighting is great. The mod. I think the character models look good. Most of the environmental modeling is kind of bad, but the textures are okay for 1K textures, which they are.
Right.
Clearly. No, it looks fine. It actually has a lot less input lag than I was expecting for a console game, which is pretty surprising. So it runs well.
It looks very good.
Even though it runs at 30 frames per second, because it's got to be cinematic.
Yes.
If they were actually planning to do that from the start, by the way, listeners, they would have ran it at 24 frames per second, because that's
that's what movies are.
Yeah. So they're actually just lying to you, and the
So
the
there's the
PlayStation
argument.
can't handle it.
Better than movie quality.
Well, not really, because most movies are actually full 1080p nowadays. They don't. They don't cut out a quarter of the pixels that they have to run.
I had a
screen.
different issue with that game. So here's what you go off on a little story here. My mother died a little over a year ago, and one of the last things she did was, kind of as a late birthday gift for me was, she's like, I'm gonna get you 2 games you get to pick, and the Order 1886 just came out, and I had been really falling.
No, I mean, as in that's a sad, legitimately sad story.
So let me finish. So I've been following the development for that game for a long time because, again, on paper the game sounds amazing.
Right.
It's a steampunk-esque werewolf hunting game.
Oh no! Don't call it steampunk. The developer is more creative than that. It's not steampunk. He created this entire style. Don't you know?
Okay, Tesla punk. Should we call it Tesla punk?
That's also a thing that existed before this game.
Okay, anyways, so I've been following the game for a long time, so I went in and I got the Order 1886 and GTA 5, trying to give GTA a shot for the first time in my life, and so I quickly popped in the Order 1886 and I spent 2 days. It took me 2 days to finish the game.
Yeah.
With that in my place, the game kind of holds a special place in my heart.
Yeah, no, I can understand that.
Of it, but with that being said, I play games for the story mostly.
Yeah.
Like I'm the rare guy that if I get a shooter like Call of Duty, I'm playing for the story, and I know a lot of people don't do that. So for me, story is everything. Being an English major, wanting to be a teacher, I follow the story. And the thing is, like the story for 1886 isn't great, but I got invested into it, and the way the game ends, it just ends. Like it ends literally mid-sentence, and I guess the creators had the disillusion that we're going to make such a groundbreaking game that we're going to get 3 more games like Gears of War, or 4 games, or 5. How many more they're up to now? I don't know, but I got invested in this game, and I was really starting to get into the world and into the characters, and then it just ends, and it was really frustrating.
Yeah.
Meh. Well, if you like story in games, you really need to pick up the other game that we played on PlayStation. The only reason we've been buying these expansions on PlayStation, by the way, is because they come with Gwent sets if you buy the special editions of them.
Yeah, the physical copies.
The Witcher.
So we finished The Witcher 3 Blood and Wine, and yeah, you need to pick up The Witcher. It's easily the best game of the last 10 years.
For all that follow me on Steam, which is only a few of you guys right now, on my wish list, I've put literally every Witcher game, 1 through 3.
I haven't even played one. If you want to get them, I would buy them on GOG, because that's the CD Projekt Red owns GOG. So if you really want to support them, you'd actually give them all of your money.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
On GOG. And Witcher runs great through there.
Witcher was one of years ago I heard about Witcher because I had a friend from, was it Norway or something, that knew about Witcher before America even knew about Witcher, and it was originally a book series.
Yep.
It was.
It's originally some old Polish
folktales.
Folktales. Thank you. I was trying to think.
Folktales.
Yep.
But with that being said,
they've been adapted into books and then made into these games.
He was a huge Witcher fan. He had a giant tattoo of the wolf on his chest.
That's awesome.
And he was like, I really want to give you the books, but they haven't been adapted into English yet.
Oh, wow.
And this is way back when. And he was telling me about the story. I'm like, this sounds really amazing. He's like, yeah, the first game is coming out here really soon, and I'm really looking forward to it. So it's always been one of those things that I remember this friend,
just keep in mind, if you buy the first game, the controls are outrageous.
Oh, yeah, and they're really
super difficult.
Well, the developers are the biggest fan of the Witcher books, and in those books there are 4 or 5 fighting styles that Witchers have, and so being big fans of the book, they incorporate every little detail about how Witchers work into the gameplay mechanics of the first Witcher game.
So should I read the books first?
I don't know. I've only read.
I wouldn't worry about it.
I've only read one of the books, but I did that after I beat The Witcher 3, and I've only played Witcher 2 and 3. And really, I probably didn't even need to play 2. I really like 2, but 2 even in itself is kind of a little dated control-wise.
Yeah.
1 I haven't tried yet because I don't have the time for the patience to try it yet. But one day I will. But the story for 1 is really inconsequential. I've watched a movie of it, so. But yeah,
I would say just play 3 if you feel like playing 2. The only reason
you can always go back and play 2, and it'll give you the backstory.
The only real reason to play 2 at this point is because there are nods to it in 3 that you'll recognize. Otherwise,
but even then, once you went back and played 2, you would understand the references from 3.
You get it.
3. I kind of think they maybe should have just called it The Witcher Wild Hunt, because I wonder if the title 3 threw a lot of people to be like, oh, well, I have to play the first 2, otherwise I can't play the third one.
Yeah,
it still sold insanely well, and it should, but it really is just kind of it's a lot more like how Dragon Age works in terms of Origins. It's its own separate thing, 2 is its own separate thing, and 3 is its own separate thing, and they reference each other. Occasionally, and that's how the Witcher series works. It's not like Mass Effect where you have to play them all.
Oh, okay, that's good. So for me, it's kind of one of those things where I like being in the loop in this sort of thing. So it's whenever a movie or a book, or I'm sorry, whenever a movie or a game comes out that's based on a book series,
Yeah.
I always feel like I should read the
Well,
books first.
the Witcher games are kind of fan fiction of the books, because in at the end of the book series, spoilers, Geralt dies. He gets stabbed with a pitchfork, and in the first game starts as if Geralt survived that injury.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Oh, that's actually very cool.
Yeah.
That's
did not
cool.
know
Yeah,
that.
so they came up with their own stories based around the folklore and whatnot of Polish culture.
Man, they're awesome.
Yeah, they're
So-
fucking great.
so with
Poland
that-
is actually so proud of the Witcher series. When Obama first visited Poland, they said to understand our culture better, you need to play this game. They gave him a copy of The Witcher 2.
That's
That's
cool.
pretty cool. No, so with that being said, like, so it's not so much fan fiction as it's a carrying on after the book series, and that kind of reminds
Yeah,
me of
the author doesn't like that the games exist though. He's
Oh,
like
okay.
it's fine that people he thinks it's cool that people are exploring Polish culture more because of them. But he personally feels that Geralt's story ended with his books, and I understand that. He created
Well, yeah,
the
that's-
character, so
yeah.
that's
what I was
fair.
going to say was it kind of reminds me then of what they're doing with the Dark Tower movie, where it basically takes place after the last book because
Oh,
the
awesome.
movies are going to be, you know, the last loop around for anybody that's read the book series. I don't want to give too much.
I've
away, but-
only read the comic series, which I'm
Okay.
assuming is just based off the book series.
Yeah, my girlfriend's a really big fan of the books and the comics, and
The comics are
She's-
so fucking good.
she's looking forward to the movie, and I am too. That's why I want to go back and reread the books before the movies come out, or the movie comes out. But I mean, that's a lot of books to try to get in before the movie comes out.
Yeah, because it's like 7 books at this point.
Yeah.
And
So
there's at least one accessory, I think, where
There-
he
yeah,
does.
a
There
side
was
story
like a
of
bunch
the-
of.
Maybe the comics
stories.
aren't based off the books then, because there's only 6 issues, like 6 single issues of the.
No,
of the
what they
comics
did with
series.
the comics is they took what was in the books and then condensed it a lot.
Oh, okay. It was
So I
still
think-
great. I still really liked
Yeah.
it a lot. So.
Yeah.
So, anyways, Dodo, what are you playing besides on console?
Well, I
Rocksmith,
want to talk
obviously.
a little bit about Blood and Wine, because we talked a lot about The Witcher as a whole here,
Okay.
but Blood and Wine is one of the best expansions I think I've ever really played. That and Hearts of Stone are yet to be beaten. I think overall I like the story of Hearts of Stone a little bit more, but I like a lot of the moments in Blood and Wine War. Like the writing comes out to just in huge spades in one particular dinner table scene in Blood and Wine. I'm sure Skura might know what I'm talking about.
Yep.
Yeah.
At the party.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
That was I thought that was really, really, really clever writing.
Yeah.
And yeah, even if, because Aaron hasn't finished the Witcher 3 main story, so we played Blood and Wine as if it was just another adventure in the middle of that thing, and it works like that. But the ending also really kind of gives a great send off to the series
yeah.
as a whole from CD Projekt
It's the
Red.
perfect ending. It's
Yeah,
feels so
it's-
good about
it's
everything.
excellent.
It's a wonderful thing.
But yeah, aside from that, that's pretty much all I really played on our Netflix box. On the PC side, playing some Rocksmith, just doing some Guitarcade mini games and stuff. The Guitarcade is just like, hey, let's get you practicing just some basic guitar things like.
You gotta play as Freebird.
Yeah, I can't play
Freebird.
fucking Freebird. There's a game where it's like, oh, just to learn how to control your volume. There's just a game where you make a dude go up and down to collect stars. There's a game like, all right, let's practice on swapping between strings, and so someone's shooting a bunch of cowboys as they're trying to take over her bar. There's a really fun spaceship game where you fly around in a spaceship and shoot at other spaceships, but the only way to shoot them down is to play the right chord. It's kind
You
of
know, I gotta-
kind of like
I gotta
Math Blasters,
say-
and it's super fun.
I gotta say, that is such a great way to teach people how to play an instrument. And, you know, if they had something like that because I've always wanted to learn how to play the violin.
That's a little harder to
I know,
condense
but with
down, but yeah.
But with that being said, like, if they ever got to that point where they could do this for other instruments, like, it's such a great way, because it's basically taking what taught us as kids, well, at least maybe three of us, what taught us as kids how to type, like, Mavis Beacon games and stuff like that. It's now turning that towards music, and I think, not to sound too much like a future teacher here, especially in schools, the music programs are slowly dying out, and it's really sad because I think music is very important. And some of my happiest memories of school.
I think it's dying out in public schools, but I think music schools in general, there are a lot more schools just focused entirely on just music, which I think is cool. I think trades like that are more important. Like, I really want to study acting. You don't really need to study math or music then. You need to go to acting school and stuff like that. And I think it's important to have more specialized schools like that. But yeah, the guitar arcade's great. Obviously, there's modes like what you're seeing on the stream right now, which is kind of like your standard Guitar Hero, but with all 6 strings and 127 odd notes that you have to play, and that's a lot of fun too. What I really like about that is that you can put it on like a really easy difficulty, and as you get a riff, like say they condense a riff down to 1 string. If you master that and get it correctly 3 times without messing up, it'll increase the difficulty of just that riff a little bit, and they'll start introducing like a chord to it. So it's a really easy way to kind of learn riffs and songs and stuff like that. What else have I been playing? Oh, I tried
Lawbreakers.
I tried Lawbreakers. I played a couple games this morning. I couldn't play it for very long because it ran really poorly. It's definitely in alpha. I'm surprised this game is even coming out this year, considering how I threw everything on the lowest difficulty. Not the lowest difficulty. The lowest graphic settings and everything like that. And it would still have huge frame variations. It would go from 120 down to 10 all over the place. Yeah, it was very, very strange. It wouldn't matter, and it was the same whether I was on the lowest settings or running everything on ultra. I'd have times where I'm shooting people fine at 120, and then it would cut down to 30 FPS, and I'd be like, oh, this is friggin' unplayable. Like, what the hell's going on here? But I think mechanically it's a lot of fun. The gravity areas are awesome. Like, there's just some rooms that have low gravity, and so you jump into them and you just keep flying on. And so it's a really clever way to try to avoid enemies and team up with your teammates and stuff like that. I didn't really have too much time to try it out to give a full impression of it, but I like what I've played so far. I just wish it was a little more optimized so I could try it out, but I think I'll wait until that happens.
Yeah.
But yeah. And obviously I've been playing Overwatch here and there because the game's great. I had a game where 2 people just accidentally grabbed Soldier at the same time right at the start of the match, and I typed in "we're all soldiers now" because that's what he says when he goes into the game, and then everybody else started picking Soldier, and I went, well, we're all soldiers now.
And then you were
and then the enemy team decided to pick all of the heroes that Soldier directly counters instead of the other way around, so we rolled them over. They went all Torbjorn, and we were like, okay, thanks. It was really funny.
Like, let's just make this match.
That's the point where you wish you were recording.
I think I might have recorded that game. Let me find out.
Oh, okay. You can upload it to the channel.
I recorded, I think, something. I don't remember which one, but it was another one where everyone decided to play the same hero, and it was pretty funny too.
Oh wow!
Except they actually played correctly. The
Not
team we
correctly.
were playing. Yeah, and they shut us down really. Oh yeah, it was our all Genji game. And they shut us down really fast. Yeah. because it's really easy to cut down people who stack Blizzard. You know. Like how much?
Anyways.
Yeah. Yeah. So that's I think what we've been playing.
Yeah, let's.
What do we have next on the list here, Grey Wolf? What are we doing
We're
today?
playing Game Club games, or some of us are playing Game Club games.
All but
haven't
one.
been. We are presently playing through the Ghostbusters. Please join us. It's a 2009 game. Don't buy the new one if you. We are finishing the game this week. So at the end of this week, we will be finishing off and re-rolling. Either we're going to re-roll or we're going to just pick the next game on the list. And the next game on the list is Papers, Please.
Yeah.
We will definitely be playing Papers, Please. So if you had your eye on Papers, Please at all, you may as well buy it if you're joining us for the game club. But yeah, at the end of this week, we will be done with Ghostbusters. We're still having a blast with it. We're having problems with the midsection, but I think that the end section will be a little better because that's normally how these games work.
Yeah.
I'm the only person not playing it because I'm bad at Twitch gaming. So, like I said last week, I got through the sea captain level, got very near the end. There was a little candelabra guy, and he was like, "Hey, you're on casual. That's really awesome. I'm going to beat you to death."
Well, that was nice of him.
So,
All things considered, at least he was polite about it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
not really. There were swarm of them, and then they killed me. So that is the plan. We're going to possibly go right to Papers, Please.
Please.
Yep.
If we don't go to Papers, Please, we will tell you in the podcast next week as well, because we will have re-rolled and done something else. Moving along from that, and now we're actually doing news stuff, sort of. Happy birthday to the Game Boy.
Yeah, happy
Game Boy's
birthday, Game
27
Boy.
years old.
Oh, Game Boy birthday.
Yeah.
He's 27.
And this must
You're
be why
older
you
than Game
posted,
Boy.
I'm younger than Game Boy, so.
this must be why you posted the Tetris theme.
Yes.
There we go.
I still have one of these.
The Game Boy. I do not have a Game Boy. I never got to play any games in the Game Boy, but it was.
I didn't either, so. We're together, Gray.
I have good memories of car trips with the classic Nintendo in my hands as we drove down to San Francisco to see my grandmother.
Yeah.
That's awesome. The original Game Boy is very important because it got us to handheld gaming. It was one of the things that got us to handheld gaming.
Is that important, though?
It is, because all things considered, Nintendo's biggest
I don't know.
seller is still
I've
handheld.
never. I know it is. I've just never been a fan of handheld gaming. I got a 3DS when that came out because I was young and stupid. I promptly sold it a year later.
Yeah, I'm actually thinking about selling my Game Boy because I'm seeing things about like they're going for something like over $1,000 on eBay. People are
Wow.
buying them.
That doesn't surprise
Wow.
And I have one. So
Right.
I wish I still had my classic Game Boy. That'd be cool.
I've still got a Power Glove somewhere for my old NES.
Don't sell that.
That's so
I'm not
bad.
going to sell that. I'm not going to sell that. That was a
You
cool
forgot,
thing.
you forgot the other line. You love the Power Glove.
me.
I
Yeah.
do love the Power Glove. It's so bad.
Power Glove always reminds me of the Wizard.
That's
Yeah,
that's
Pointing.
And I've got a Super Scope for my Super Nintendo. So
Amazing.
I never had a Super Nintendo. I always wanted one. I never got to grab
Yeah, I
one.
never got to have a Super Nintendo. My neighbor had one that I would just go over and play.
There's some good games on the Super Nintendo.
Well, of course.
I was only allowed to have one console at a time when I was a kid, so when I wanted an N64, I had to get rid of my NES, and I didn't want to get rid of my
Wow,
N64 so
why?
the Super Nintendo,
Yeah.
because my parents are crazy.
Because my parents were the same way. When I had the original NES. They didn't count the Game Boy, so I always had a Game Boy. But
You should.
I had the
I
I had the original NES, and then when I wanted to take a Genesis, I had to get rid of the NES.
You should
and
have
then-
told them that it was just another Game Boy.
And then so on and so forth, and then eventually, I got to that age where.
Yeah,
Right.
after the N64, they were like, you have to use your own money to get
Yeah.
your consoles, and then, so I
Well,
had to
that
sell
being
all my N64 stuff for a GameCube, and
I
I
always
actually don't regret that anymore, I think.
I always get envious of seeing YouTubers, those guys that play video games, and they have a wall behind them. IGN has one, but they have all the consoles in a cubby hole, and I wish I had that. Even if I didn't have the cables to plug in the consoles, just the idea that I had a wall that shows the evolution of gaming is kind of cool.
yeah.
Yeah. All right.
But anyways. So.
Cool.
But this is a good segue into our
Yes,
next
it
news
is.
about Nintendo, about the rumors of the new NX is going to be a handheld.
Was it rumors or was it confirmed?
Yeah,
No,
no, it's
it's-
not a rumor. It's
it's actually confirmed?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Wow, okay, I didn't know that.
Is
Yep.
it confirmed? Let me go check.
I didn't think it was confirmed because they still haven't done the official announcement yet.
Nintendo's NX sounds weird, and that's okay from Engadget. And that was a day ago.
Yeah.
I still don't. think we
I
know.
remember it leaked, but I don't remember.
I think it's still a rumor that supposedly it's a handheld
Yeah.
that connects to the TV for console play.
honestly, that's fine.
Detachable controllers. Yeah, I think that's a good idea.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
think it's a nice
Because
idea.
I mean, they're gonna make it. It sounds like if this is true, it's going to have basically the same specs as an Xbox One, and Xbox One basically has the same specs as my phone. So it only makes sense that you can take it on the go.
But with that being said, it's the obvious evolution from the Wii U and their handheld screen device. It seems the logical step for their next console of being, the thing that you hold in your hand is actually the console.
As long as it's not fucking confusing. Like, I mean, people did not understand what the Wii U... Like, the Wii was successful because it was easy to look at somebody playing fucking baseball on a Wii and go like, oh, they're waving that like a baseball bat and playing baseball. That sounds cool. I can buy that for my grandmother. And then the Wii U, everyone was like... I think people are still probably like... Is this an extension for my
like an
Wii?
expansion for the Wii?
Yeah.
What is it? And parents were legitimately confused. They'd walk into stores and they go like, "My son told me to get the Wii U," and then the store assistant tried to help them, and then they saw that the price difference between the Wii and the Wii U was cheaper, and they're like, "That must be just like the thing he told me to get, but cheaper." And then they buy a Wii,
Yeah.
Okay, so here's the thing. If it is a handheld system, that's pretty interesting because it's actually very difficult to get TV input to a NDS or a Nintendo 3DS. It is actually legitimately difficult. You have to have the console modded. So the fact that they're going
the
to
thing
do
now
that,
though is that you have an optical port, and I'm sure that's what they're going to use.
that's pretty much what I think they're going to do. But it's interesting that they're making it a handheld system because that implies that it's the form factor and the graphics card and all that kind of thing is not going to be that great.
But I've
They're
also
doing
heard rumors that, it's going to go back to being what do you call cartridge gameplay, where everything's going to be on a cartridge.
That's also just a rumor.
Yeah, I would allege because they've already got their Nintendo shop, right, where you can just download shit to your console. I'd imagine they'd do something like that if they were smart. But they're Nintendo and they're crazy, so we have no idea what they're gonna do.
Yeah, and we're still not going to know until about November when they have their official conference. I forget what it's called now, but it's usually in November. So.
I think cartridges are a good idea though.
I do too. I think because it's basically a memory stick at this point.
Yeah, you could stick a 50 gig, basically solid state drive on there.
Yeah, I mean, shit. I have a 64 gigabyte micro SD card. So
yeah. I guess it would make sense. I mean, all things considered, when you look at the games that you stick into the DS or 3DS, those are basically cartridges too. They're more like micro SD cards, but all things considered, that's still technically a cartridge.
I think that with this particular system, it's going to be a case of we really need to wait and see and clear out what is fact from what is not.
Yeah.
Because at the moment,
I hope it's a good thing. But I do agree.
I think that it is an interesting thing. But again, it's Nintendo doing this thing where they don't want to play in the proprietary they're trying to play in the proprietary market, and I have a problem with that.
That kind of is true. Yeah, I mean they've already stated that they're not building this machine for graphical power. They're building it for people who want to play like good Nintendo games, good old Nintendo games, which I like. But yeah, I mean,
Again, it puts them in this boat where they're not like they will never be able to port these games to PC without work.
right,
For
right.
example.
They're never gonna let these games get ported to PC anyway. If
No,
I mean,
well, they won't.
Yeah,
Which is
No.
also dumb of them, but you know.
it is very dumb of them, but they think that we're all pirates and thieves.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. I
When
don't
when
know.
time and time again has shown that if you bring it to PC, we will buy. Kevin Costner even himself said it. If you build it, we will buy.
With that
Yes.
being said, Nintendo has always had this. I mean, I respect Nintendo. They are the grandfather of video games, basically, you could say. Besides Lost Wolf here.
Now you're getting it. Yep, there you go.
That was
Slowly learning.
But with that being said, like, I mean, they have given, especially me personally, on a personal level, they have given me some of my favorite game series of all time. Legend of Zelda will always be my favorite game series of all time. But with that being said, when it comes to consoles and it comes to games, they're very hesitant to try new things game-wise. But then they're like, oh, but for our consoles, we want to be edgy and cool, and that's when you get things like the Wii or the Wii U, and it's just, you know, even the GameCube, where it's just, you know,
What's wrong with the GameCube? GameCube was
nothing.
awesome.
I'm not saying there was something wrong with the GameCube, but you have to admit, Nintendo for years has been hit and miss, especially on the console side of things.
Well, yeah, they are the Amy Winehouse of video games. You have no idea what they're gonna do. They sing like they're high as fuck all the time, and somehow they have a hit record and blow up like fucking crazy, and then the other day they're in rehab. And we have no idea what's going on.
I thought you were gonna make a tactless joke of saying Nintendo is somehow dead but still with us.
I think that would be the Tupac of video
That's
games.
Sega, okay?
Oh god, I guess it would be Sega. No, so I mean, all things considered, especially with, okay, so E3, the only thing Nintendo brought to the table, they brought two things. They brought the new Pokemon game, Sun and Moon, and they brought the new Zelda game. And the whole thing with Zelda is, yeah, it's going to have a Wii U, there's going to be a Wii U version still,
Right.
but the big thing is, like, this is going to be our launch for the NX. And, but the fact is, so they're showing so much of the Zelda game, but we still have no freaking idea what the NX is going to be. And I'm wondering at this point, do they even have a game plan? Because they got to tell us by November if they still want it out. They were talking about it.
They don't, because they were talking about some of the other rumors I saw was they were pushing production back to 2017. So they still have time.
Okay.
But I mean,
think
again,
it's
this is
frustrating.
just rumors. There are too many rumors. We don't know what's going on.
Because the Wii U fell hard.
Yep.
I mean, it really did. And there was a part of me that really wanted to get a Wii U. I still have a Wii, but I never play it. Like, if I ever get the desire to play it, that way it's great, because I still have Zelda games on there and Metroid games on there that I've kept the games for. A part of me really thinks Nintendo should almost step down from home consoles and just should focus on handhelds. Because their Game Boys have always sold well.
Yeah, that they're the Nintendo DS and the 3DS. have always
3DS
done
and new
good
3DS
business.
and 3DS XL and new 3DS XL, they've all
Yeah.
sold well. And especially when they launch a new Pokemon title to go along with them,
Yeah.
they almost outsell some consoles.
If there's one problem I have with the strategy, and it's a problem that I see every time with Nintendo, and it's going to happen again with the NX, they're basically making a console, and then they're making a Zelda to go along with it, and that will be basically the launch lineup for that console, and that's problematic. They need to work a lot more and harder on their third title support, because they've never had, in the modern era anyway, they've never had very good third-party access at all on any of their platforms, and that's a bit of a problem, I think.
No, I mean, the Wii brought some mature games. I mean, we saw, obviously, the Resident Evil games come over, and, you know, we saw stuff like Mad World or No More Heroes. and that's cool. And we had Zombie. Zombie originally came out just for Nintendo. It recently got ported to like PlayStation 4 and whatnot. But I think Nintendo, they're so stuck in their old man ways of, and they can't do that or they're going to die. And
Well, I mean, they might limp along. Look at Sega and look at
that's true.
Yeah.
Capcom. Those guys are still around.
I honestly wouldn't mind if Nintendo became a Sega and just made games and focused on making good games and stopped trying all these crazy hardware gimmicks. Because, I mean, people don't need their hardware anymore. I'm sorry. It's like, I don't need another thing to put under my television.
Yeah, it's true. For
No,
sure.
with that being said, unless the NX is something spectacular, I mean, I haven't played a Zelda game. I never got to play Skyward Sword because they wanted that peripheral for your Wiimote that at the time I just didn't have money for. I always wanted to play Skyward Sword. So I haven't played since Twilight Princess. And that it kind of makes me sad. But if their NX isn't something that's going to wow me, I'm probably not going to end up playing the new Zelda game because I'm not going to want to buy a Wii U or an NX. You know?
Right. Yeah. Because, again, you would literally be buying the one game that the console is selling itself on.
Exactly.
And that's problematic. Nintendo need to stop doing that.
And if that's the case, then what it should do is, and they should take a note to bring this back to Game Boy's birthday, is they should bundle, without charging us more. When the Game Boy originally came out, it came with Tetris. You didn't pay more for it. So if their whole selling point for the NX is going to be the new Zelda game, then the console just needs to come with the Zelda game.
Yeah, but
Well,
nobody
they'll do
does
that. I'm almost certain there will be a Zelda edition.
Exactly, but they're going to charge you more.
Yep.
Right, you'll buy
Well,
the game,
yeah, and why wouldn't they? Because people are going to buy that. People will buy into that. There's no point in selling the system and giving them Zelda for free. Absolutely none. It is guaranteed extra money if they sell it bundled with the game for extra.
Yeah.
Unfortunately.
Yeah, it sucks. It does suck because the original NES, came with Mario and Duck Hunt, right? Now mine didn't. Mine didn't. When I got mine, I got Double Dragon 2. That's what came with.
That's actually way better. So
a little bit down the line.
But yeah. Anyway.
Well, I mean, the other thing Nintendo was doing, right, is the plug-and-play NES, and we all kind of said that was a pretty good idea, right?
Yeah.
Well,
yeah,
did you
I
guys?
guess, except for the fact that it should have internet access to download more games.
Well,
oh yeah.
But it's also only a $60 little box. It's basically it's an emulator. It's a tiny little emulator.
For the value, it's awesome. I think it's really awesome.
Apparently, Sega is hopping on that bandwagon. They are doing for celebrating the 25th anniversary of Sonic, as have been lately. Let me go back to the article here. They have Sega Master Drive Classic Game Console. It is a plug-and-play thing, just like the NES thing that we saw, but it comes with 80 games for $60 and not 30.
Yeah.
80 Sega Genesis games for $60. That sounds like a way better deal. As someone who never
Mega Drive. It's the Mega Drive. I'm sorry, I don't mean to.
Well, it's called the Mega. They call it the Mega Drive, but it's a Sega. It's a Sega Genesis emulator.
You said Master Drive. I just wanted to clear
okay.
That up.
But yeah, as someone who never owned the Genesis, this interests me more than the NES one. I think.
Oh, okay.
Because I've played most of those NES games, I have not played most of these games. I never got to play any of the Streets of Rage games. I hear those are great. I've played the Sonic games, obviously, but I mean.
Is there a game list on this article?
No.
I thought there was. I guess not.
You're looking at the out list. The in list is what is coming in, and what's going out is what's leaving. This is a thing that is happening.
Mega Drive games list.
So, this particular list is not great. It really isn't. There isn't anything.
Well, it's also
great
not
there.
80 games.
I do like this quote though. Remember how 8 and 16-bit wireless controllers were terrible when you were a kid? Well, that technology is still terrible today.
It's true.
Yeah, that surprised me. But I mean, like I'm okay because again, there's no way to preserve history for games. It's been really, really hard for console games. PC, it's freaking. I mean, we can emulate anything with there now. But these
yeah.
these console games were not supposed to emulate N64 games, despite I own the entire N64 catalog on my computer.
Yeah.
I'm going to turn you over to Nintendo, good sir.
And Nintendo hates freedom, so I wouldn't be surprised. But I think these are, because most people aren't going to spend the time to figure out how to emulate ROMs, and I think it's a great legitimate way to keep the history of these consoles intact, because they are really important.
Yeah.
You know, the people need I able to play these games. I think this is a great idea, and I'd like to see more older consoles do these kind of plug and play things.
So here's an idea, or let me think what you guys think about this. If say this plug and play Sega does well, do you think Sega may start thinking about maybe developing a new console again?
No. Oh god, no. The thing is that for them to come in, they would, like the way it worked for the Xbox was, they had to lose money on the Xbox for that whole first generation.
Yep.
Before they could start making money.
Yeah,
for the
they like did not make profit on that for a long
and
time.
the problem with Sega is that Sega's not in a position like Microsoft was when they made that decision. Sega doesn't have the muscle that Microsoft had at that point to just say, you know what, it's okay, we'll casually lose this whole first generation's worth of sales to get a foot in the door for the 360. And that is why I don't think they will do that.
No.
You know, it would be interesting, but I don't think that they would do that.
Okay. I just thought maybe that this was maybe Sega testing the waters, you know.
No, I think Sega's just saying, this is easy money, let's do this.
Yeah, Nintendo's doing it, we should do it too. We've always been major rivals. But I don't know, again, this is on the outside edge of its own performance, but it might make Nintendo go, all right, well, Sega's going to do one of these, maybe we need to do a Super Nintendo version of it.
Yeah.
So it's going to ignite the console wars between Sega and Nintendo all over again.
The mini nostalgia genre will maybe, I don't know. I mean, that's, like I said, I guess that's really on the outside edge. I don't really expect anything, but I suppose it's possible.
Yeah, that was something that I thought when, because they announced that mini NES that's coming out. And again, I think it's an okay idea. It would just be so much better if it had internet connection that could attach you to the Nintendo eStore so you could further up the...
But I mean, how much memory is on a $60 little console box? Probably not.
I understand that. But with that being said, and then the announcement that Sega was doing this, it really, my first thought was like, is Sega testing the waters if they're, if this works for them? Because they have two planned. They have a Sega Genesis one, and then they have what was their Sega handheld? Sega Saturn?
I have no idea.
Saturn.
Saturn's a console, I thought, wasn't it?
Yeah,
what was their handheld? What was their handheld back in the day? But they have
Sega handheld.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about because my cousin
Game Gear. Sega Game Gear.
Sega Game Gear. Thank you. And they have one of those coming too. And I'm just like, well, maybe if these do well, maybe like Sega's thinking about, hey, maybe it's time we get back and taste the water and Dreamcast 2, everybody.
I'd love to see Dreamcast come back. That was the best system out there as far as
I think it would be kind of funny, but I don't think it would work.
I don't know. Anyways, moving along.
Yeah, what do we got up next, Gray?
No Man's Sky.
No Man's Sky has been pushed back again. It's
only 3
That's gonna piss people off.
Only 3 days.
Yeah.
Oh well.
Yeah, one of the guys in my Pathfinder group was just livid. Oh my god, I can't believe it! And it was like, it's 3 days.
Is that Nikolai? Please tell me.
No, it wasn't Nikolai. It was Ivan. I don't know if you guys ever met Ivan.
I don't think I've met Ivan.
He sounds Russian.
No, he's not Russian.
Well, Nikolai is Russian.
Nikolai. He doesn't sound Russian, but that's actually I think. What is it? Albanian or something? I don't know. I can't remember.
I have no idea. No Man's Sky delayed. All right, is that the end of that news? On PC?
No.
Is it on PC only?
No, it's PlayStation 4. But I mean, the other part of that news is PlayStation 4 will not require the PlayStation Plus membership to play online. And the main reason they said about this was because though it's technically possible to run into other players, because of the way the game is built, it's highly unlikely. So
I wonder if there's doing this just so they never even have to program a single code for multiplayer. Like the game doesn't actually support it at all. They just have it tagged on the box, and people are like, "I've played this game for 200 hours and I've never seen anybody. It's so big."
I don't know.
I wouldn't care because I don't really want anyone into my game. I just want to roam around and listen to 65 Days of Static.
But at the same point, I think it's going to eventually be possible that if, say, I'm playing with my girlfriend, and we're like, okay, you need to travel to this system, to this planet. I'm sure there's going to be a way to do that, so you can find your friend.
Yeah, I mean, it wouldn't make any sense if you couldn't be like, hey, you see this little quadrant of the galaxy? Go to this planetary system, and it's that planet. Go there.
I don't know.
I'm the possibility that's true, but I don't think it's actually going to work that way.
We have no idea how it's going to work. The whole game might explode when people put it on their computers and plug it into their consoles. So
with that being said, I'm really looking forward to No Man's Sky, and the more time that they take, even if it's 3 days, that's not a big deal to me because they're working hard to give us a great product.
Yeah, the delay.
The hype. I'm over the hype at this. Here's my favorite No Man's Sky thing. I just found this on the Reddit. It's a post from 1 year ago. I don't think. Yeah, this guy hasn't posted anything else on Reddit. I quit GTA 5 and put my PS4 away in the closet for this game. No Man's Sky will probably be the true endgame for me, the final frontier, the last game I'll ever need or desire. Simply put, satisfaction. P.S. I found this game by accident. However, I felt it was meant to be so. It's the first and only game I've ever followed before release. My body is ready.
Okay.
All right then.
I feel like that is a Reddit troll account.
I hope it's not. I hope somebody is just not playing any other games and putting all their eggs in this basket.
Super excited. Yeah.
It's from a year ago.
The whole 3-day pushback had something to do with licensing. They had to
they had a problem with
license dispute.
Yeah.
What licensing? The Sean Murray's friends with he's friends with the keyboardist from 65 Days. What licensing problem would there be?
I don't remember what it was.
Unless 65 switch labels again, which they do a lot.
It's just a matter of it's done and it's solved, and all they had to do is push it back for 3 days. So who cares that much? It's not really that big a deal.
It's 3 days. 3 days, people.
The only other part to this is that somebody bought a copy of this game on eBay for something like $2,000, and they've got it, and they've already put videos up on the internet. Of the game, and
you know what? I don't think that's as stupid as the people who are spending $2,000 on ships in Star Citizen.
Well, so. but the thing is he got it before release, and originally, I mean, to me that would have been a red flag. I'm not going to buy this game. This is a fake. But apparently, it's not a fake. It's the real thing. He's playing a single player something or other.
I like how he risked $2,000 to see whether or not it was fake.
That's a lot of money to just stake on. Yeah.
Are we sure Donald Trump didn't do this? Maybe it wasn't a lot of money.
It was probably that douchebag Martin Scarelli. He out of prison yet? I don't know.
I don't know who the fuck that is, but okay.
That hedge fund dude.
All right.
Anyway, they put the videos up, and of course the developers are like, yeah, we're not going to tell them to take the videos down, but don't spoil yourselves on it. And I'm not going to watch them.
No.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think it matters because whatever you watch, you're not gonna encounter what he fucking encounters.
Yeah, you're not gonna see what he sees anyway, or maybe you will. Maybe it's just not that diverse. But
I don't know.
I'm kind of excited.
I'm trying to remember the last survival craft game I got into. It was probably Minecraft, which is what fucking made this awful genre. But I'm kind of interested to just put on some headphones and just not do anything for half an hour at a time and just explore
I mean that's what
space,
I feel like. It's not going to be super exciting. I just feel like it's going to be a pretty cool.
I feel like it's going to disappoint a lot of people when they realize that's what it is.
Basically, what I think is going to happen.
Yeah,
they are wanting one thing and then they're going to get another thing because really, it's a game that's based on procedurally generated terrain and environments and all that stuff.
Yeah,
and
so level design is not existent like all of these freaking games.
The level design is basically null and void. And Like,
Yeah, you
that's
make
why
your
you're
own,
there.
essentially.
You know,
That's
Yeah.
It is going to be a beautiful game. There's no doubt about that. Just looking at the screenshots and the couple of
Yeah,
videos.
we've got a video up on the stream right now, but
It's a really beautiful looking game. But the problem is that you're going to see the sort of beauty all the time.
yeah, it's going to be everywhere. Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
And
well,
so
it doesn't matter how pretty it is if you get bored of it in 3 days, which is possible.
Yeah.
But I mean, you know.
I imagine they've probably got certain modules, that they've got pre-built that'll go into areas as they're generated and stuff. But yeah, I mean, I gotta say, I'm more interested in the exploration and finding a trade route somewhat similar to the X games. Moving things back and forth or joining a space battle or something like that. I don't care at all about the Minecraft, like shoot this special gun into the ground and mine out ores and build tunnels into planets and stuff.
Yeah,
I don't really care about that.
I mean, it's gonna suck if the game requires me to do that, to do the other fun stuff, but hopefully it doesn't.
We'll see. I mean, I think I can't think of too many people that aren't in some way excited about this game, and it's very ambitious. I think it's a very ambitious game. Plus, Wolf, you agree, Wolf? You're not excited about anything.
I'm not really. I'm not like super excited about it. I just think it's going to be a fun diversion from the most games I've been playing right now, which are mostly multiplayer and competitive games. And I just kind of want a new type of game where I can just get lost in it and not have to worry about anything.
Well, if there was a card aspect for this game, you would love it.
Yeah, and that's yeah.
I found a random playing card on a planet. I am hooked.
Oh my god! If there's a CCG in this game, oh my god, I want it so bad now.
Okay, so people keep on leveling this accusation at me that I don't like or want new things. This is not true. I am looking forward to Abzu.
The problem with No Man's Sky that I have is that it's not a new thing. There are like 4 games. There are like 40 games like this on Steam right now. So they're all space exploration survival craft games. They don't have as many fucking planets, but they still have hundreds, and you'll never explore them all. So what's the difference? This one looks pretty. That's the difference. So, the only reason I kind of really want to support this game and pick this one up is because it features one of my favorite math rock bands of all time doing the score for it. So,
all right,
I just get to drive around space and listen to one of my favorite bands. So. That's why.
Please, we all know most people are going to put on David Bowie and just rock out.
I might put on some of their older music because they've kind of became less of a math rock band and more of like electronic bullshit. But hopefully, this game is not that.
So, anyway, should we move on to their next?
I think we're ready to move on.
Before you do that, okay, so people keep on telling me that, I'm not interested in anything new that's coming out. This is a patent lie. I'm looking forward to, in this year, Abzu, ABZU.
Oh yeah, we're going to talk about that later when we get to releases too.
Yeah.
I am looking forward to Ghost of a Tale, which is coming this year sometime. I am looking forward there was a whole list that I actually posted on Twinstiq earlier this year of things I'm looking forward to in 2016.
And they all looked awesome, so yeah.
I'm looking forward to stuff.
You're actually looking forward to new things and not retreads of old genres and and things
actually
that have,
new stuff.
Yeah.
Right. The thing is that I'm just not into the current AAA setup because it's not interesting to me.
Yeah.
So
which is what's so weird about No Man's Sky, because it's a game made by 14 people, so that's very indie. But it feels like the most AAA game from all the hype and the Sony publishing the game and the sheer amount of media attention it's got. It feels like another AAA release. It's weird to think that this is literally an indie game made by the same people who made fucking Joe Danger.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I really hope it's successful for him because I would like to see.
Yes.
And it looks like they've done a nice job building this.
There's no way this game isn't successful. Even if people hate the game and the game is shit, it's going to sell like gangbusters. Yeah. It's already sold like gangbusters. It's been like the #1 thing on Steam ever since it came onto Steam like 3 months ago.
Yeah.
It's always in the top 5 of selling games for every week. And that's terrifying. Stop pre-ordering video games, you fucking idiots.
Yes.
Yeah.
Did you not learn your lessons with Aliens Colonial Marines? Like, I thought that was...
Hey, whoa, we don't discuss that game.
Well, no, you should, because you all pre-ordered it!
But on to something I am very excited about.
Absolutely, yeah.
I'm going to go ahead and announce this because this is something I saw and went like, I squeed over it a little bit. Nordic is announcing the Darksiders remaster. And normally I'm like, remaster, blah, whatever, I don't care. But when Nordic did the definitive edition for Darksiders 2, I bought it and it was wonderful. I did a write-up on it. It's on our site. Please look at it. The first Darksiders was a totally different animal. Such an awesome game. War is really fun. That's coming this year, October 2016, guys, and it'll be $20.
That's amazing.
That's awesome.
That is an amazing price for a remaster.
Okay, so that is doing your remaster right.
Yeah, yes. Absolutely. I own the first Darksiders, haven't played it, but I've played through Darksiders 2 3 times because it's so fucking good. Yeah, the only reason I haven't played 1 is because I hear it's kind of jank, so I'm actually really, really excited for a remaster.
It's one of those things that I never got to play simply because, I had friends, so this was during the craze of, well, a little bit after, I guess, of the God of War. And to me, it just looked like another God of War clone, and I already got into another God of War clone.
It's more
Dante's Inferno.
It's far more Devil May Cry. It feels a lot more like Devil May Cry meets Zelda than it does God of War. To be fair,
the first game, the second game is more like God of War, just in the way Death plays because he has 2 weapons.
Yeah, but I mean, the Metrovania status of it all is super Devil May Cry.
For sure, it's like I think I put in my definitive edition review. I think I said that if Zelda and Kratos met the party and did it all night long and then ended up with a baby, that's what you got. It's a very cool exploration game. Anyway, the platforms is going to be PC. This will be on PS4, Xbox One, and Wii U.
Oh, awesome! Wow. They went all the way. Well, damn, that's so awesome.
$20 for all of them. The only caveat is that the Wii U version will have a 30 FPS lock, but I think that's
because the Wii U doesn't even output in 1080. Well, it does output in 1080.
So does that mean they're going to be dropping the price of the Darksider 2 remaster?
How much is the definitive edition still $40?
I think it's 30. I think it's 30, but it might come down.
Because I would like to. I mean, so when it comes to game series, I really hate jumping into a sequel, and that's why, like, earlier when we were discussing The Witcher, everyone's like, you only need to play Witcher, like, 3, technically speaking, and I'm just like, but it's a series. I want to start from the beginning. Like,
right, yeah, that's true, but in the case of The Witcher, the stories are so... They're not that connected. Witcher 2 is a whole separate game from Witcher 3. They're related in some nods. Like I said, you'll see some references and characters, but you're not losing anything by not playing. And I'm not saying you shouldn't. 2 is cool. 2
is awesome. I really like 2. The problems I had with 2 were just how it played. It doesn't feel like a modern action role playing game.
But at any rate, the Wii U version is going to have a 30 FPS lock. It still will be 1080. Everything will be 1080 native. And the Xbox One, PS4, and PC version will have 60 FPS.
Awesome.
Man, I'm gonna buy this.
Sweet.
I really want this to keep happening because Nordic is interested in making Darksiders 3, and if you're a fan of these games, you definitely want Darksiders 3. And the only reason,
I'm definitely buying it to show that I really, really want a Darksiders 3.
So who would you play as in 3? Pestilence or Famine?
I really want it to be a co-op game with you playing both of them.
Yeah, I think it'd be great if it was. But yeah, I think. Oh man, I don't know. I probably. Because you use Strife's guns, I imagine you might end up playing Strife because you already got some. Introduction.
That would be cool, but I feel like story-wise, Famine would make more sense.
Well, maybe after
what happened in 2.
Maybe. Oh yeah, that might be the case. Yeah. But at any rate, it's really cool. And again, these stories they're connected, but only very thinly.
Yeah, I think I mean, the goal of 2 is... I mean, 2 takes place basically at the same time as 1. Because you're basically...
No, it's after 1. It picks up right where 1 left off, because War gets captured. And then
and you're trying to save him.
Spoilers!
Yeah.
Well, I mean...
It's not spoilers.
Yeah,
you know what's gonna happen.
I started on 2, so I didn't really know. I didn't really care. I just really wanted to try it out, so...
I'll be right back, you guys.
Yeah, so that's excellent. Everyone, please, I mean, God, I can't explain how cool these games are. They're so fun, and you know, I never really noticed one playing weirdly or being a weird game to play. I really liked it. It's maybe not as polished as 2 was, but
yeah.
I mean,
I was gonna get around to it eventually, but now that there's a remaster coming out, I'm just gonna buy that to support it and then just play it.
Yeah,
so
yeah, I'm gonna do that too, because I was thinking about playing through the first one again. But I think I'm just gonna wait. Coming out in October.
And the definitive edition is $30 on Steam right now. But I highly suggest to all of our listeners to go to Steam and take a look at the THQ Classic bundle, because it not only includes the definitive edition of Darksiders 2, but it's $22, and it also includes Magus vs. ATV Reflex, which is super fun. It contains Frontlines and the first Darksiders game, Fuel of War, Full Spectrum Warrior 2. And Red Faction Guerrilla, all of which are great, and Titan Quest, which is also fun. For $23 for all those games, and you get Definitive Edition for $8 cheaper. So that's a pretty good deal right now.
Now the one good thing that Definitive Edition also did was give you all the DLC. I don't actually remember if there was DLC for the first Darksiders, so I would imagine if there was, that will also be in the.
Yeah, I never played any of the DLC for 2. I just replayed 2 a lot. I replayed it because the first time I played through it, I expected as a necromancer, and it was super fun.
Yeah.
The second time I played through it, I expected as a warrior. And then I don't remember why I played it the third time. I think I just wanted to do it on New Game Plus again because it was so much fun.
Oh yeah, it's just great. Yeah, I've still got a game going in New Game Plus, and I would like to pick it back up. Actually, I should, because I'm not really playing anything else.
Yeah, I think I restarted my Necromancer again in New Game Plus as well, but I didn't finish it.
What are we talking about?
Darksiders.
Oh, we're still Darksiders.
Oh, okay.
But yeah, I mean that's a cool thing, guys. I mean this is along the same lines of the companies, you know. Or well, it is. It's the line of companies that know what people want and how to make a proper remaster with a good value.
Yeah, Nordic are a great group of people.
I'm okay for that. So I fundamentally like remasters, but I don't like remasters that come out and charge us a full $60 for a game that's been out for years. Like, I was really excited to see a remaster of Telltale's Back to the Future game, but I mean, my girlfriend raised a good point of, it's going to be a little bit better looking, but I have it for PlayStation 3. Why don't I just give you the copy for PlayStation 3 and you can play through the game?
Yeah.
And I'm like, that's cool to me because they wanted to charge a full game price for the game. Yeah. But with something like Nordic Games that comes out and they're like, we know that you guys want this, and even though we put a lot of work into updating the graphics and everything, we're not going to charge you $60. Give us $20 and you're going to get a game that you've been wanting.
Yeah. And it again is this is sort of giving them measurements in this metric that they're saying, maybe people are interested in the third one, and I really want people to buy it because
who's their new publisher? I can't remember who bought out Nordic when THQ went under. I know they didn't. I know they weren't bought out right away. Like, they were totally ignored when all the bidding went on.
I actually thought I had wrote that in this, and I don't remember, and I can look it up.
It looks like it is.
But yeah, I would be super surprised if they were like $60 for a game that's 6 years old.
THQ?
Like, that's crazy. No, THQ, they're gone.
THQ went dead.
Yeah.
Oh,
died.
Rainbow Studios, maybe?
Maybe. Because the property...
I'm on their Wikipedia page right now, so I don't really...
I thought that Nordic died.
Oh, Dreamcatcher Initiative, it looks like. It was acquired from Joe Wood Entertainment and Dreamcatcher... No.
Joe
I
Wood
don't-
is like a subsidiary in the EU, so that seems a little weird. It
Okay,
looks
so
like-
so Nordic is who acquired the properties
Yes.
by
Nordic
THQ.
got it, yeah.
Yeah,
Nordic
but
bought-
it is Nordic
because
and
if-
somebody else. Somebody else
okay,
is
so
actually doing this remaster.
If you look at the Wikipedia page for Nordic, they say that the predecessor was THQ. So
Yeah.
they bought Nordic. I mean, they bought THQ and they are Nordic now. For
somebody
upcoming games
somebody
for
is
Nordic
somebody
games.
Yeah, 'cause-
specific
'cause-
is actually doing this
Yeah, because
remaster. They're the same people that did the definitive
Yeah,
edition.
because Vigil were the developers.
Darksided.
Vigil were the developers who made the
Yeah,
Dark
Nordic
Side
and
games.
Vigil. Yeah.
We are talking about Darksiders 2.
Darksiders
No, we're talking about
1
Darksiders.
War
Darksiders.
War Master Edition is what it's called.
Yeah.
Okay, so Darksiders. They don't say, but I'm gonna just casually assume that it was Vigil and then Vigil sold to Gunfire because that's who's currently
Gunfire. Yeah, I think that's
doing. I think everything.
I think
with
they're
them.
the guys doing the remaster
So
Gunfire.
yeah, so what happened was
because they did
Vigil-
definitive.
Yeah. 'cause
Oh,
Vigil,
and there's
I
going to
think-
be 4K support on PC for the War Master Edition.
Yeah. I forgot to mention that. That's
That's awesome.
I think Vigil is dead and don't exist anymore.
Yeah,
and I think they
well,
might have sold the
I'd
assets
imagine.
upward to Gunfire.
yeah. I think
And
they
then-
were absorbed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right. And I think that's basically what happened there. So Vigil sold to probably THQ, and then THQ probably sold to Nordic, or got bought up by Nordic, and now they're doing with Gunfire. So Gunfire is now the developer. So
Yeah,
and that's
it
fine,
does.
'cause
It
they did a good
doesn't.
job.
It doesn't look like the remaster is like a huge overhaul of like the textures and stuff. The game definitely looks a lot sharper. Like the HUD and everything looks
Yeah,
better.
they said they doubled the resolution, but that doesn't. I mean, they
Yeah.
weren't working with 2K textures anyway back then, so that doesn't mean that much.
No, and I
It's
mean,
still gonna look
the
a lot
game
better.
has a lot of textures. I wouldn't expect them to go through and remake every texture like a lot of.
Right.
But no, it's still awesome, and yeah, when that comes out, people go buy it because they're great games. They really are.
can we move?
Yeah, please.
Oh yeah.
Okay, so this is weird, and I don't really understand why this would happen, but PlayStation VR wants 60 square feet of real space to use. That's not the only thing that's funny about this. That's fine. It's hilarious, but okay. And they want you to sit down while you play. What?
So why
Yeah.
do they want 60 square? That's huge.
You're right. That's the
I
yeah.
don't know.
Yeah, that's.
I couldn't-
Okay. So you need a 5 by 7 square foot for Vive. That's how many square feet? 5 times 7 is what? 35. 35 square feet. So they want almost double what the Vive requires, which
Yeah,
actually
those
has you move around that area.
It also says that, and I don't know if I'm understanding this properly, but it says it also uses 3D vision tech. And since that's different than actual VR, does that even classify this as a VR?
Wait, what is 3D vision tech?
Well, okay, so let
Let's
me
find
read
out
this.
together.
PSVR uses 3D vision technology. There are individual differences in viewing 3D graphics and the feeling of wearing a VR headset. Please try the VSVR shops or trial events before purchase.
So it's
to me
not
that-
actually VR.
To me,
at all.
that says this isn't actually a VR machine, so just make sure
Nope.
you like it before you buy it.
Oh dear.
So
Yeah, this is,
basically, they're saying that anybody that doesn't own their own home cannot play PlayStation VR. Because I don't know any reasonable size apartment
Well,
that
it's
will have.
stupid because they want you to sit down anyway. So why the fuck do you even need the space?
Well, I think they're saying sit down because they want you to be safe. They don't because they had all the people walking into walls and stuff. So I think that's sort of like a, caution. This coffee's hot. Don't spill it in your lap and sue us, sort of thing. But
Our Pokemon Go. Don't walk into a bad
right,
neighborhood.
don't
So
walk don't come over to
3D Vision Tech is just a division that works on a lot. Here, I'll send you their website. They make VR and they make a ton of other shit. So 3D Vision isn't a a system for viewing games. It's a company.
Okay.
And they make a lot of shit. VR is one of the things they partnered with Sony to make their VR headset.
But
So
can we get back to the whole? I mean, if they want you to sit down, why do you need 60 square feet?
well, because you're not going to sit down. Nobody's going to sit down while they wear it.
I'm gonna sit the
but
fuck
it's
down
still-
when I
that's-
wear it.
That's still a lot of space to need though for that. I mean, a lot of people complained about the Vive. I guess people.
Well, yeah,
people complained about that because it wanted open space.
yes.
And then it turns out that actually was a wonderful thing. It actually made it so much better.
Yeah, apparently the point of the Vive though isn't controlled with a PlayStation controller because the Morpheus doesn't have. I mean, I guess they have the Move controllers and stuff, but they don't have like room spaced areas for their games. Most of their games are just you basically sort of in one area looking around the world and exploring like that kind of thing. I mean, if you watch a lot of the show floor stuff of people on the Morpheus, they're not exploring around in a little area like they are with the Vive. So I don't really know why.
Oh, okay. So
It's
this
even
makes
necessary.
this makes a little more sense, right? So it uses a PlayStation camera, and that camera is a cone view, and I think that is what is picking up the VR signal. So you need to sit a certain distance back from your TV and have a certain area wide enough to be able to move around about 360 degrees.
So you need the PlayStation camera. Is the VR going to come with the camera too?
It doesn't say that.
No. The you can buy the Morpheus just straight up for $400, or you can buy the bundle, which is $500. Comes with your camera, your VR headset, and I think a Move controller. I can't remember what's in it. But the basic price of PlayStation VR is $500 because the $400 thing is just the headset on its own. But then you would have to buy an $80 extra peripheral.
This guy's quote, "Oh, that's about the size of my sex dungeon."
That is amazing.
That's kind of a bummer. I'm still looking forward to the Morpheus, more so because they're seeing if they can get it to work on PC. If they don't, somebody else will, and then that will be a cool modding tool because it's a very cheap VR headset. And from what I've heard from most people who've tried all three, they say the Morpheus is the best VR experience that they had, aside from the Vive moving around the room stuff, but just sitting, controller, VR headset. Everyone says the Morpheus is above and beyond everything, and it makes sense because the Morpheus has its own CPU on the headset, which I'd assume it's like a CPU GPU hybrid, and that would make sense why it would run VR better because it's doing it right there on the headset itself. But this news is just silly. This is silly.
I mean,
And I think if this news becomes even more public, I think sales that were possibly not even going to already be there because of pricing are going to plummet even more for the PlayStation headset. I have no desire right now to buy the PlayStation headset simply because it costs more than the PlayStation 4.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
And if it's a peripheral,
I mean, the PlayStation 4. I wouldn't be surprised if they were like, okay, we lied. That PlayStation is not going to be able to do VR. It's not possible. You have to buy the new one.
The VR headset, though, as I remember, now this was rumored way back. There's nothing in this article about it, but it was supposed to have its own processor to help with that.
The PlayStation the PlayStation VR headset has its own GPU CPU combo thing on the actual headset that helps with that.
And I think that would be excellent, especially if it was to go to PC, because that would knock down VR. That would knock down VR requirements by a lot.
Yeah, it really would.
Anyway, the reason. Okay, so this is explained here. And the graphic they show actually makes a little bit of sense, but it just seems silly that they would have to do it this way. As the graphic from the PlayStation Asia shows, that's the picture below, the PlayStation camera has to project in a wide area around you, as I said, in a cone, and objects in its path could interfere with that technology. Like so you could actually like walk behind your couch and the camera couldn't see you anymore. So you have to have an open space for that camera to see you all the time, and they recommend that size of an area. So
Okay.
to me, that makes sense, but it's kind of shitty.
Yeah, but
Like,
it's not
you
gonna.
think they would
But
have a better adapter.
if the PlayStation camera goes, oh, this isn't 60 square feet, I'm just gonna stop. I
don't know if it does that.
I don't think it'll do that. That would be stupid. Nobody has 60 square feet of spare space in their fucking living
I
room.
hope it does.
No.
And when it stops like that, it says you're
Too poor. Go away.
No. What it should do is when it stops, it should say, "You need to buy more DLC. Would you like to buy more space DLC?"
No, what they're gonna do is, so I remember this for the Kinect. I don't know if it was the 360 Kinect or the Xbox One Kinect. A third party started making an add-on that you place on the Kinect that like reduce the camera size so it would work in smaller living environments.
Right, because one of those required you to stand at least 10 feet away from your TV or something.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah.
And that was my problem. So I got the Kinect for 360 years ago, and I hardly ever used it short of telling my Xbox to do things, simply because I never had the room to do things, you know?
Yeah.
And I don't know. I just think this idea of PlayStation VR needing 60 square feet is going to alienate a culture where a majority of our people live in small apartments simply because that's all they can afford in this economy.
Yeah.
So, you know.
I mean, like, 60 square feet isn't that big a space. That's 10 by 6. That's not that big. But, it is still a much larger area than anyone else has, and it seems awfully silly that it needs that. Or says it wants that. I think like Cody says, I don't think you just are gonna really have to have that. I think as long as you're far enough back.
It's like your recommended specs for most games.
Yeah.
It's like you don't need the recommended.
It probably will
as long
work
as you
best
have the minimum,
in a
it's
situation
fine.
like that. The more room you have, the better off you are. But
Yeah.
I think it's gonna be fine anyway.
But it's definitely not going to work in my apartment. I mean,
And it's really weird because like the rooms they have people played the fucking Morpheus in were like fucking smaller rooms than they had people in the Vive in. The PlayStation and the fucking camera were set up like fucking 4 or 5 feet away from these people, and it worked fine. So.
Yeah. Well, and these will also just be in stores, just like anywhere else. So you can go check it out for yourself at a Best Buy.
Yep.
or GameStop
You
or
can go do that with Oculus Rifts right
yeah,
now.
but with GameStop, I mean, I don't know any GameStop, especially where we live, that has enough room for a 60 square feet.
Well, sure, but
No.
you get the idea. Though. You can go to a store and check it out. is what I'm
Oh
saying.
yeah, I mean Best Buy will work at Best Buy, I guess.
Yeah.
But I don't know. Should we move on, because this is just frustrating me.
Yeah.
Yeah, Sony, you're drunk. Go home. That's the end, basically. All right.
Okay, so
What's next on the chopping block, Gray?
we
The
have
GTX.
the GTX. So if you bought a GTX 970,
That's
it
me.
has 4 gigabytes of RAM. Nvidia now owes you $30 for your missing 500 megabytes of VRAM. So you should actually have 4.5, but you don't.
No, you should have 4, but you're only getting 3.5.
You got 3.5.
Yeah.
Okay.
DX
Is that because of the
And it-
architecture?
It's
And-
not actually because it's not there. There is
it's-
4 gigabytes of RAM on it. It's just the fact
But-
that the video card utilizes half a gig for itself, and you don't actually get access to it.
Oh, okay. I was gonna say, is this a case of
Yeah.
like, we had?
Except
Windows.
that's been the case for video cards forever. They just
Right, it's always been like that.
they just put a typo, or they didn't include that part on their website, and so people sued them and they won because of course they did.
Yeah.
So I don't care
How
because
is
I understand how video cards work and knew what I was buying when I spent $300 on the thing. I don't feel the need to go try to get $30 from them.
Yeah, and it's $30
Because some lawyer wanted another notch on his resume.
Yeah, but if any of our listeners that are using, the GeForce
GTX 970.
Sorry, GTX 970 want $30.
Well, you have to be a part of the class action suit as well. So you have to have bought that card and you have to have registered that card to get the letter in the mail about, hey, there's a class action. So you may not.
Yeah, I never got no letter because I didn't follow this bullshit.
Yeah,
I didn't follow this frivolous little lawsuit that, of course, they won. So
yeah, it's a little bit silly, but I mean, $30. People are like, oh, it's only $30, but I mean, it's only 500 megabytes of RAM, guys. I mean,
yeah, honestly,
I mean-
they're giving you one hell of a deal if you think
Yeah,
500 megabytes of RAM is worth $30.
yeah,
Yeah,
that's
it's
a lot.
not.
I mean,
Definitely.
shit.
That's half the price I spent on fucking 8 gigs of RAM.
Yeah. Yeah. So
Okay.
here we go. It's a
Yeah.
silly thing, but it's out there. If you're interested, check it out. You might
It was news.
Moving
know.
on to tabletopping.
Right. Okay. So I'm gonna roll these two together because they're kind of the same.
Yep.
The new Doom tabletop game is coming. It looks pretty cool, and
Dope.
also the Dark Souls tabletop game was in Kickstarter. It came out of Kickstarter. It made most of its stretch goals. I don't know when it's coming, but I think it might be 2017.
Yeah,
So-
I don't know when the Doom game is coming either, but I'm going to go ahead and link you guys this link here. I should have done this a while ago. I'm going to go ahead and put that in the comms right there. And look at the board. It looks cool, man. It looks like a modular board, somewhat similar to...
Oh, that's neat. The way you bowl the board eventually.
Oh, dude, that's actually really cool. That's like reminds me of classic D&D.
Yeah, it's pretty bitchin' looking. It's got its own specialized dice. You got your minis. I hope it comes with all those minis. It looks like
So
it
do
does.
I.
Yeah, and you can
Those
paint.
are
You can
cool.
paint them yourself. That's sweet. Awesome.
Yeah, it looks pretty sweet, and I mean, this is
those
fantasy.
minis
Flight.
actually look really good. Yeah, if it's Fantasy Flight, it's gonna be great. They don't make
Yeah.
bad
Yeah.
games. They really
That's a
don't.
fair to me.
They did
Yeah.
an XCOM game, a StarCraft game, and a Gears of War game. Just according
Yeah,
to
I
the
still haven't
article.
I still haven't played the XCOM game, but I really want to because
Uh,
it's actually timed. It's timed like the XCOM games are timed.
Oh, right on.
Yeah.
But the boards are really massive looking. I mean, comes with a lot of customization. That's really cool.
Yeah, it looks pretty cool. It's somewhat similar to Betrayal at House on a Hill.
I was gonna
Tile.
say it looks a lot like I can't remember what it's called, but there's the Star Wars, not X-wing, but there's a kind of a version of X-wing that looks like this, except it's with ground troops, and that's what this looks like.
Oh, I know what you're talking about. I can't remember the name. I used to play that.
I know. Well, Fantasy Flight does one now, and it looks like this, and the dice are fairly similar to that.
It's
so.
cool, and I just heard about from you guys a little bit ago about the Dark Souls board game, and that sounds amazing as well.
Yeah.
You know.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah, I really wanted to contribute to that campaign actually, but I've never had just a bunch of spare cash around because I wanted to give them some money for it.
I looked at it and I was like, I would like to buy this, and then I looked at the import cost, and the import cost was stupid.
Ugh.
I was like, maybe not.
Well, I'm sure it's going to be. I'm sure it's going to be expensive anyways because I mean, this Doom game probably will be as well.
Oh yes.
Yeah,
Just
look at
because
those
if it comes with all those
minifigs.
minis,
Yeah, those minifigs look really high quality.
yeah, they look decent. And the Dark Souls one I think is also supposed to have minis. Yeah, I imagine it'll probably be expensive. I will buy that game and I will buy this Doom game.
Yeah.
The cool thing, I don't know that much about the Dark Souls game other than it works just like the video game does. As you play along, you can play with yourself or other players
Phrasing.
against DM, well, whatever. And you play as a single player or multiplayer game. Of course, it's going to have somebody there as a DM type that's going to run the module. But if you're playing and you happen to get across a bonfire, you're going to have to go like, okay, do I want to heal and repair my equipment at this bonfire, which will subsequently also respawn all the monsters that I've defeated, or do I want to move forward? You're going to have to make choices, and I guess you'll get respawns and stuff, but I imagine you're going to probably die a lot.
How does invasion work? Do you just like kick in the door of your friend's house
Yeah, there
and
you
like
go.
punch them in the face?
Yeah, the game's
There
like
you
go outside, get a sword, bust down your friend's door. They'll pay for it later.
Yeah, that's bringing realism to.
I kick down the door and loot the room.
There you go. Screw Pokemon Go. I can now play Dark Souls Go.
That's right.
It makes
Souls
more
Go.
sense when people fall off cliffs playing Dark Souls go. So.
Yeah. So, but the way the Doom game is going to work is that you can play as 1 to 4 Marines, it looks like, against a person who plays all the monsters. And
Oh yeah, that sounds good.
So it's basically 4 versus 1, basically.
it could be 4v1. Well, but the one
yeah.
is basically everyone.
He's God,
I mean,
yeah,
You just look
I
at
mean-
that
Yeah, well,
picture,
the 1 is probably the DM.
yeah,
Or the,
right.
the GM.
Yeah,
whatever
there's a lot of multiplayer asymmetric games that look like this. Board games have been doing it for a long time, and that's why video
Oh, yeah.
games are doing it now.
And the
It
Marines
sounds
will have
weird.
the Marines will have objectives and victory conditions, while the demons only have to kill you.
Cool.
So
Makes sense.
that's the DM's like balancing point. All I have to do is kill those guys, while those guys have to maybe, I don't know, turn on consoles or lock doors or unlock doors or whatever.
I think that's cool.
I think it sounds fun.
Yeah, that sounds like a lot of fun. All right.
It depends on pricing, though. I mean, if this game comes
It
out
will
and
be-
it's like $120,
It's gonna be $60. I
Yeah,
guarantee
it's-
it.
well, 60's not too bad.
games, then you can
Mo-
almost
mo-
certainly
most-
assume that it will be not cheap because
Yeah.
Fantasy Flight games are never like,
They're never
They're
cheap.
normally 60 to 80
Mhm.
in that kind of range.
They're always
So
they're
that's
always
sort
worth
of
it
what
though.
you-
They're always
Yeah.
really quality games. Yeah,
And they're
I can't
almost
say
always
enough good
really
things
well
about
put
them.
together. So
Yeah,
you know,
they make my favorite RPGs ever. So, which
Yeah.
are the Edge of the Empire, Age of Rebellion, and Force and Destiny, and now the Force Awakens. They did the Force Awakens version of that RPG now.
Sweet.
Anyway, back to video games.
One thing to add is that we still don't know when these games are coming out. There's no
we
release
still
date
don't.
for any of them. So, but they look cool.
All right.
They look cool. Thumbs up.
So this is an opinion. I don't know how long we're going to spend talking about this. But we'll
Because we
see.
could spend like 2 hours on this alone, bro.
Pretty much.
What is
The
this?
Happy Few looks pretty cool, and so
Oh.
far it's $30. But it's early access, so is it worth it?
No.
I am not an early access guy. I'm just going to say no.
Yeah,
It's
I
not
agree.
really
I
that.
don't think it is either. I think it looks neat, and if it continues in development, it might be worth it eventually. But as long as it's
So,
this, I
Well-
don't think so.
why I agree with all you guys on this, I have already dished out for an early access game, as I mentioned before in the podcast, with Subnautica.
Don't get sucked in.
I think the
Um,
only early access thing I ever bought was Invisible Ink because Clay make great games, and it wasn't even on early access at first. It was just a hey, we're gonna sell our alpha for $10 on our website.
So, for those that don't understand, early access is basically you're paying for the game before the game is done, so you can give the developers your thoughts on mechanics that they could.
Sometimes.
In theory, they will make the game better. With something like Subnautica updates usually twice a month their game.
Oh, these games are all required to. They didn't used to be, but now they are thankfully required to update themselves. I think on it, you have to do it at least 3 months, otherwise you just get taken off.
Okay,
here's
so
early access.
you know how that's going to play out? They're going to make a 1 megabyte patch that
Yes,
updates the title
yes,
screen.
Yeah, right.
yes. That's what happens for a lot of these games.
Subnautica has not done that.
The
though.
Subnautica's
I mean,
also been in early access for 2+ years, and so
I
has
understand
shit
that.
like DayZ.
And but with that being said, I'm having fun with Subnautica. Already since I got it, they had a patch where they introduced new creatures, and I was like, oh, this is cool. It's like this world that I'm swimming in is evolving around me.
Well,
But with something
that they're
like
doing that.
yeah, with We Happy Few. Now, We Happy Few, in theory, looks like a great game. But just
Meh.
I've been comparing it to BioShock because it has that feel of BioShock.
The E3 trailer had that feel of that, but that's not what the game is at all. The game is just
No.
another survival craft game. It's just instead of zombies, it's a Clockwork Orange theme. It's the same as DayZ and Subnautica and billions of other fucking games on Steam. The world looks great. Don't get me wrong. I think the world is very, very cool for We Happy Few, but I don't care. Even when the game comes out, I'm not going to buy it. I don't care about survival craft games. They're the plague of PC gaming at this point.
Okay. Now,
Yeah.
I am the guy that likes survival craft
Right,
games.
and
Mostly.
You'll like it.
But how many? I mean, it makes sense that you do. How many survival craft games are on console? Minecraft? Is that it? I think that's it. So it makes sense that you would like survival craft games.
No,
You haven't had to witness.
There's more.
There's more, but they're not a lot of them.
They're not. There's not one. There's not a new one on the front page of Steam every day, or on the front page of PlayStation every day.
And I understand with it that you guys as PC gamers have been oversaturated with
Oh
it.
yeah.
But with that being said,
That's an
with that being said, let me go the
That is
console route
understandable.
here. We Happy Few is also in early access for Xbox One, and this has been unheard of up to this point. So I can see why players are.
No, this
excited
is
for
the
it.
exact same fucking reason I've been against early access since the get-go. I don't want companies like Microsoft and Sony going, we don't even have to finish a game and people will fucking pay for it?
Yeah.
That's why H1Z1's been in early access for 2 years with Sony at this point, and We Happy Few, they say it's only going to be a year, but they're going to barely update I mean, if they actually spent the time to release the game, you'd get whatever X amount of content, all right? Well, right now you're getting Y amount of content because it's in early access. I guarantee you, in 5 years, the amount of content in this game will never equivalent to what it would have been if they had just spent the time to actually finish the game and then
Okay,
release it.
here's another aspect that a friend of mine I was talking to, because where I support Subnautica, I don't really want to support Be Happy Few, because I feel like, to me, it has that feel, like I said, of Bioshock. And Bioshock is about the story. And since only 3% of the story is currently in We Happy Few, to me, that's atrocious. But my friend raised what I thought was a decent point. You pay $30 right now, and you get the game in early access. But when the game comes out, you've still gotten that game for $30. But when the game comes out, they're probably going to up the price to $60. So it may be worth it for some people to buy it now, not even touch it until the full release.
But I don't like that system. I was still mad when they did it. But Divinity Original Sin, which I kickstarted because Kickstarter is you saying, oh, this is a product that may never see the light of day. I'm gonna support it. I kickstarted Divinity Original Sin. I was kind of mad when they put it in early access, but they put it in early access at a higher price point than what the game was going to launch for. And they did that because they didn't want people to waste their time. They actually wanted people to fucking QA test it, and they're like, people who really care about this and didn't kickstart us, they can play the early access, or people who did kickstart us get to play the game early and QA it for us, and we'll make the game better. I like that system more, because then you're actually getting people who are going to give you good feedback for your game because they are paying top dollar to be a good QA tester. They're not, because if you make it cheaper, then everyone's just going to go into early access, and you're just going to get a lot of people shouting and you're going to have awful QA for your game, because you're going to have everyone and their mothers saying, "Oh, I don't like this gun, it's stupid. Get rid of it or kill yourself."
Yeah, exactly.
And unfortunately, the internet is like that, and they'll say those exact words.
Yeah. It makes way more sense for me to if you're going to launch a game at $30 to put it in early access for $60, because they only got people who actually care about the game state and want it to be a better game.
Yeah,
I still don't like that system at all. Because you get people like Microsoft and Sony getting it on the game, going, "Oh, well, you know what, Mass Effect Andromeda, we're gonna have to put that in early access for like a year." And then they roll in money for a long time and never finish the game. They go, "You know what? This just isn't going the direction that we wanted.
We're gonna cancel the project.
We're not going to worry about it." Or you'll get another thing like DayZ, where the lead developer left because they made a shit ton of money in early access, and he was like, "Why would I finish the game? I don't care. You guys finish
no
it."
No reason now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's literally what he did. He got up and he walked away.
Yeah.
I do think that there are certain instances where early access has worked out pretty well.
Yeah,
But-
Darkest Dungeon again did it well. They again launched at a higher price point than what the game launched for, because they wanted people to actually give them good feedback.
Right.
And that game apparently turned out great. But even then, you only get one launch for your game. When Darkest Dungeon was like, "We're released, the game's out," I was like, "Oh, but you've been out for a while, right?" I mean,
There's no extra content, which is, I think, a good thing for, why there's no story there, as True was saying. There's no story, but that's the point. There shouldn't be a story.
yeah, you wouldn't want
Because
you
otherwise you've already played the game. There's
Yeah.
no reason.
I guess that's
And
true.
I actually think they're doing that aspect correctly, because that does solve the problem of, well, I've already played this game a lot in early access, and now that it's out, I have no reason to play it. But with this game, if you bought it in early access, you go, "Oh, it's out! Awesome! I can play the story finally." That's actually kind of cool. That's a smart way to get around that problem with early access.
Right, and I actually think that Subnautica will probably turn out okay, even though it's been there for a long time. Like you're saying, they're still putting out updates. I wish though that
it's the same guys who made Natural Selection, which I hear are very good games. So
yeah, I wish that they would focus on bug fixes, and maybe they are. I don't know anything about it really, but I hope they would focus on optimization and coding, and not just releasing new creatures.
Well, I think now don't quote me on this because I'm relatively new to the game. It sounds like that Subnautica is taking a little bit of a back step now that they're supposedly going to be releasing on Xbox One too, because now they're going to have to focus all their time instead of
so they have to port.
Yeah.
Import now, exactly, and that's why they're saying.
And they're gonna have to downport, which is really hard to do.
Yeah, so that sounds like an excuse, actually.
Yeah.
And that's the crazy thing about these games even doing console releases, because consoles are notoriously awful for indie devs, because every time you want to update the game, you have to pay whatever amount of money it was. I think when Phil Fish was doing it with Fez, they wanted $1,000 every time he had to update the game. Like, that's fucking crazy. Like, it's no wonder that developers don't update the games on console as often as they do on PC. PC, you click a button, but there you go, the game's updated. With your PlayStation and Xboxes, you have to submit your content, pay $1,000, and then Microsoft and Sony have to look over the content, and that takes 2 to 3 months before it even goes live.
Right.
So that's really crazy with early access, because you could have something that gets through, totally breaks the game, and now they're down for 2 to 3 months on those consoles.
Yeah, right. Because while they fix it, and it's a valid excuse, they have to be down because they're not allowed to put something out quicker.
Yeah.
So it's kind of stupid, but I mean, I hope it works out. I hope everything works. I want it all to be good.
I never want games to be bad. Absolutely.
But
I think visually, We Happy Few looks very good, and that trailer now that everyone and their mothers have seen looks really promising.
Yeah, like I said, I'm really interested in the world and stuff. I'm just not interested in playing the game as it plays. Like, I'm already skeptical about No Man's Sky. I don't need another fucking survival craft game in my life. I'm good.
Anyways, I think we've gone on way too long.
Gray, did you have anything else you wanted to say about We Happy Few being in early access?
I don't like early access, but we know that already, so I don't have much to add. The only thing I have to add is that you shouldn't be giving developers money for early access.
Yeah,
that's about
paid beta. That's what it is.
Paid beta.
That's not.
They used to hire people to QA their games. Yeah.
You are doing a job that used to be a paid position in a company.
Yeah.
You don't want to do that. Don't do that.
And that sucks because people study. I know people who studied to QA games. It's a really specific and a really hard job to do, because there are a lot of certain things you have to look for, and it's not really easy to do. And it sucks that it's just being droned out for the masses, and they're being charged to do it. It's so crazy to me.
Yeah.
So there we go. That's the podcast for this week. I have been.
Did we want to do releases?
Sure.
There's even a game that you mentioned earlier that you were looking forward to.
I keep forgetting that because we keep not putting it in our list of podcast topics. But yes, go.
Go.
Well, first up, we have a little game called Abzu, which was the game.
Abzu looks beautiful.
And this was...
it really does.
Yeah. Abzu is an epic descent into the depths of the sea, where players will explore beautifully rendered ocean environments with fluid swimming controls. Gray, you apparently were looking forward to this game. You want to talk about it a little bit?
I am looking forward to it. I'm looking forward to it because I'm hoping that it's not a combat-based game.
It doesn't look like it.
Mm-mm.
Yeah, and that would be fantastic, because a lot of these games now that they're coming out, like we had a guy in Slack who's posting where was it? I will tell you what it was now.
Song of the Deep is what you're talking about, maybe?
Song of the Deep. We have a slew
Song
of
of the
these
Deep is combat based, though.
Yeah,
but
that's what
we have
he's
a sort
talking
of
about.
these games coming out now that all have underground and underwater themes, but they're all kind of basically combat based. Now, when I saw the pictures for Abzu looked really, really beautiful, and I kind of hope that it's not combat based because we need something that's kind of an antithesis to all those things.
Mhm.
So I am curious about Abzu, and in the days following its release, I'll be watching very closely to see what the scores are like.
And it is coming out to console as well.
Yes,
Yeah,
it will be coming out August 2nd on PlayStation 4 and PC only. Sorry, Xbox people, you bought the wrong console
It will
apparently.
probably end up on Xbox eventually. I hope. But I am looking forward to it, and I am curiously waiting to see what the scores are like and to see if anyone has video of it, because if it's not
I'm sure this will blow up on your Let's Play channels quite a bit. It's very, very stunning. The art style is excellent. It looks like something out of a children's novel. I really like it.
Yeah.
right.
That does
The thing that I don't do on my Let's Play channel is I don't play endless games, and I have a bad feeling that this will be an endless game.
Well, I don't know, because this is the same director who did Journey on PlayStation 4.
Okay. Then maybe not.
It's not the
Maybe
same
we'll
development
have to
team,
game
but
that
it's
point.
the same guy who directed Journey is doing this. I think.
Yeah,
that
it kind of
this
looks
is-
like it kind of looks inspired by stuff like Journey and
yeah, I mean, as you're saying, it looks like Underwater Journey. Sorry.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
no, I was just gonna say like stuff like Journey and what's the one with you play as the little boy? The little boy
you
in
thinking of Brothers?
no,
Brothers?
in the Shadow World.
Limbo.
Limbo, thank you.
Oh,
Limbo,
Limbo.
and the new one that
Inside.
Inside. So it looks like kind of in the same vein of those three
Maybe.
games, but underwater. So we'll see. I mean, I think it looks really pretty, and the music sounds very calming. So we'll see.
Right.
Yep.
Things I'm not looking forward to: Batman: The Telltale Series. Yay!
Not looking forward to. You're crazy.
I'm looking forward to that.
I am too. We talked
Xbox
about that
One.
last week.
Yeah, we
did.
did.
Should be cool.
360, PS4, PS3, PC, Mac, and iOS. So
Everything under the sun.
yeah,
And Android.
yeah, literally,
August
literally, if you can put games on it, Batman's gonna be there.
it's
But
on it.
but like,
What?
but like,
Seriously?
but like every Telltale game, I'm just gonna wait till the whole series is out.
Yeah.
So.
Right.
Oh yeah.
And then we have this curious thing, Battleship. Does someone know
It
anything
is.
about
It
that?
is. It is literally the board game Battleship.
Oh Jesus!
Oh, wait, are you telling me it's not the movie
so
Battleship
how
that
much-
came out a few years
Do
ago?
we know how
Nope.
much money they're charging for this atrocity?
No, I don't care either. I wanted to
but-
ignore it. I wanted to mention it and then move on.
Well, okay,
Battleship,
alright.
whatever.
Xbox One, PS4, August 2. If you want to buy it, don't buy it. Cannonball, PS4, August 2. I don't know what Cannonball is. I'm sorry.
It's already on Steam. It's a fun local multiplayer game where you beat the shit out of each other. It's fine.
Yeah, like Worms or
okay.
something.
Yeah, it's Worms.
Oh, wait, was I not ripping on this game a couple of weeks ago?
You were ripping on that game a couple of weeks ago.
Cannon Brawl.
Cannon
Let
Brawl.
me see if I can find it.
Yeah, the art style is very Castle Crasher Z.
No, I wasn't. I was there was another game that was sort of like this. It wasn't.
There are a lot of games that are sort of like
Because
that.
I didn't know
so-
that this was coming. Anyway, so Cannonball, that's coming on the PS4 August 2. Don't Starve Shipwrecked, which I assume is just all about being on the sea and getting shipwrecked.
It's
That's
another
PS4
expansion to
August
Don't Starve. Don't Starve is
I'm
fun, but
confused.
it's another survival craft game.
Right. Doesn't this exist on PC, Shipwrecked itself?
Don't Starve Shipwrecked? I think so.
Yes, because
Let me find
there's
out.
no PC tag.
Yeah, it just says PS4, but I'm sure it'll be.
I'm
PC.
pretty sure Clive releases everything, and I love Clive, but I mean, yeah, Don't Starve Shipwrecked. It's DLC for Don't Starve, so
Okay,
it's already
so
on
we'll be
Steam.
on PC. Right, okay. We got Gun Double Piece, which I have no idea what that is. That's a PS4 Vita game. That sounds like a Japanese-ish game.
I believe it is next.
Stop me if I'm going too fast.
No, it's fine. Next, we have another board game coming to consoles.
Risk Urban Assault, Xbox One, 360, PS4, PS3, August 2 as well. I assume that that's just a faster version of Risk.
It
Yeah, I was
is.
gonna say, it
Well,
sounds like
it's not going to take 5 days to play it, but it's
No,
it's
because
Risk.
that's normally how Risk goes. We have a thing called This Is the Police, which I can only assume is an indie game and is silly.
It actually
Mac and
looks
Linux.
pretty interesting. I have the Steam page up. This is the Police is a
Okay.
strategy adventure game set in the city
Oh, wow.
spiraling the drain. Taking the role of a gritty police chief, you will dive into a deep story of crime and intrigue. Will Jack reach his retirement with a nice stack of bills, or will he end up broken or worse? Sounds like it kind of deals with a lot of things that are going on in the world right now, some possible police corruption, and showing that not all police are bad, kind of thing. And you basically send police officers out to certain
Oh, okay. Right.
events that are happening and tell them what to do and what
That's
kind
what
of
I
force
need
to
is
use.
a bit of real life in my escapism.
Well, I mean, as a strategy game, it actually looks like a pretty
Well,
good
yeah,
amount of fun.
What is funny about this list is that it's all like August 2 and August 3. We have Tricky Towers, which is PS4. That's August 2. I assume that's
Tricky Towers.
I'm just gonna assume that it's
I
a
have their tower-based
tower
game.
defense clone.
Tricky Towers
defense
is a
game.
frantic physics-based multiplayer tower building game.
Yep.
It's
Okay.
multiplayer Tetris, apparently.
Oh yeah, I've heard of this. I think that's going to be the free game for PlayStation Plus next month too, if I remember reading.
It looks like a good thing to distract 5-year-olds with, so I'm glad I'm watching a lot of 40-plus-year-old people play it. Sweet. All right. What's next?
Then we have Mobius Final Fantasy. That's iOS, Android.
Oh yeah,
It sounds like one of those fantastic cash-in games.
it's a mobile
So-
game. It's just a Final Fantasy game on your phone.
I'm looking at pictures. I'm gonna just assume, because what's been happening with Square Enix is they've been doing these cash-in games for the last little while now on the phones, and yeah, this looks exactly like that.
Yep, we've
along.
seen a few of them.
It's probably gonna be a free-to-play snooze fest. We have Overcooked for Xbox One, PS4, and PC. That's August 3. I have no idea what that is.
Overcooked is a chaotic couch co-op cooking game for 1 to 4 players.
It has pretty graphics.
It does. Working as a team, you and your fellow chefs must prepare, cook, and serve up a variety of tasty orders before
that's really cool.
the baying customers storm out in a huff. That's a pretty good idea for a kind of team building game.
Kitchen simulator.
I like how the customers are like a giant meatball head that you have to feed. But that's kind of interesting. It looks like some people only have access to certain tools, and you have to work together to make people's meals. That's actually kind of a clever way to do a multiplayer game. I like that idea.
Right.
Yeah.
We have Road to Valhalla, which is a PC game, and that is August 5. I am a little confused about that name.
Road to
So I'm gonna go look at it.
Valhalla. It looks
Okay.
very pretty.
It's very pretty.
Prepare your balls for an epic journey to Valhalla. Feel the rhythm to overcome deadly hazards and marble, not Marvel, MARBEL.
Oh, wow.
Oh, marble at awful puns. Now I get it. I thought they just mistyped something. I was
Marble at
just
awful puns,
I was just being an asshole. Marble at awful puns in the role-playing game of the year. May the torque be with you. It's a role-playing. Oh, I see. An ROLL role-playing game. Holy fuck! I want to punch these people already.
Hey, that's pretty.
It is pretty. It looks like a very punny puzzle game featuring balls
There we
and
go.
lines and such. Best choice ever. All right, cool.
And that is the releases for this week, unless you have something that I don't know about.
That's it for this week.
Less than a week away, Suicide Squad, people.
Oh
No,
yeah.
that's me.
Oh yeah, if you're looking forward to
That's
that.
true. All over it.
Hey, the comics guy got to get a little something at the end.
No, that's fine.
Suicide Squad.
Yeah, I think everyone and their mother is ready for that movie. It's gonna be awesome.
I think Hot Topic is more ready for that.
I think they've been ready for that movie for a while now. They are ahead of the game on that one, really.
Yeah.
Awesome.
So, yeah, I think that's about it everyone.
That is it for us.
Just a quick reminder for
Yes.
next week for people that are currently playing with us for the game club.
Absolutely, yeah. Thank
We
you
are
for-
still on Ghostbusters, the video game from 2009. If you've been keeping up with us, just finish out the game from here on out. There's only 3 chapters left. And then tune in next Sunday morning, or, well, afternoon, I should say, and we will finish up our game club for that game. Everyone will discuss our overall thoughts on the game as a whole and for the last 3 chapters, and then we will choose the next game for our game club. So thank you for those that have been tuning in to Game Club. I hope you've been enjoying my pick of Ghostbusters, the video game, thus far.
Sweet.
Right. I have been Lost Wolf and or Grey Wolf. This has been a Twinstiq podcast. I've had a bunch of people with me, and the people are
Cody, Yoda, me.
Yoda. I have
me
had
too.
Yoda. Say goodbye, Yoda.
Goodbye, the internet.
And I've had Mr. True Legend Killer with me. Say goodbye, Mr. True Legend Killer.
Goodbye, Mr. True Legend Killer.
Very good. I have had Mr. Screwloose with me. Say goodbye, Mr. Screwloose.
Goodbye, everybody.
Thank you so much for joining us. We will see you all next week when we do another podcast. Have a great week, folks, and goodbye.
Stay geeky.
Yep. Well, what was it earlier, Jason?
Catchphrase here.
Perfect.